So, basically, I died. And the worst part? I had 600 million yuan I never got to spend. Here's what happened. I had really bad stomach problems and desperately needed a toilet. I found a lottery shop, begged to use their bathroom, and bought a lottery ticket to say thanks.
Forgot all about it.
Days later, I walk past the shop and there's a giant sign saying, "Congrats to the lady who came here to poop. She won 600 million. Yes, they really announced it like that. I checked my ticket, and it was real. I was laughing like a crazy person in an alley. Then something heavy fell on me from above. Neck went snap. Game over. I woke up on a creepy bus full of broken ghosts heading to the underworld. Got a number ticket, sat in what felt like the world's worst waiting room, and started having a meltdown about my unspent money and my apartment I never even slept in once. Then some guy named Yi Fan called me a criminal. I told him he's wrong. I was a straight-A student my whole life. He checked my file and realized they grabbed the wrong soul. I was supposed to live to 120, and my body was already cremated, so no going back. To make up for it, they offered me a deal. Since my lifespan isn't finished yet, they'll send me traveling through parallel worlds, like living inside different stories, all as versions of me. Plus, they'll give me a special power-up since it was their mistake. I get to pick one out of 3 options. So here I am, dead, rich on paper, picking a superpower in Ghost headquarters. Life's funny like that.
Well, death is.
So 3 glowing options appeared in front of me, and I had to pick my cheat power. A magic online shopping app that works in any world. A trading system to swap stuff between worlds. A magic spring space, special soil that makes plants grow fast, plus healing water. And it levels up. I wanted all 3, obviously. I gave Yifan my best puppy eyes, but he shook his head so hard it almost fell off. One pick only. He told me I'd be going to China, 1964, a parallel version, tough times, not much food or supplies. So, I picked the magic spring space. Smart, right? But then I made my move. I told him I want my 600 million converted to gold and put in my space. He said sure, easy. But I wasn't done. I grabbed his hand, batted my eyelashes, and asked if I could also use the shopping app for a little while to stock up. He said no. I reminded him they literally killed me by accident.
He said yes.
I got 10 days of unlimited online shopping. Everything delivered straight into my storage space. We even signed a contract because neither of us trusted the other. Fair enough. We're both ghosts. Then I went absolutely feral. I set aside 200 million in gold for my future reincarnation life and spent the rest like a woman possessed. Seeds first, wheat, corn, peanuts, every vegetable, cotton, fruit trees. I love cherries and durian, so those got priority. Then medicinal herbs, ginseng, mushrooms, the expensive stuff.
Seafood?
Obviously. All kinds of fish and shellfish. Feminine pads?
Critical.
The biggest overnight ones. I cannot imagine 1964 without those. Tissues, wet wipes, toilet paper, bought tons. Salt, every type of flour, sugar in 4 colors, candy including the classic white rabbit milk candies. Every kind of egg, spice, grain, and meat. I don't do meatless meals. Medicine, snacks, spicy strips, jelly snacks, instant noodles for lazy summer days, pre-made meals for when I don't feel like cooking, and a cookbook to pretend I'm learning. Drinks, soda, milk, powdered milk, cooking oil, all of it. Then I spotted alcohol. I don't drink, but it makes great gifts in the 60s. Found some classic old-timey bottles and bought a mountain of them. Sadly, no cigarettes available. I'll figure that out later. I found a retro shop selling old-fashioned stuff and went nuts. Tin frogs, enamel cups, aluminum lunchboxes, old water bottles, glass marbles. I used to be a marble champion as a kid, so I grabbed loads. Matches for show, lighters for real use. Flashlights, batteries. Colorful clothes, bolts and bolts of fabric in every color until the store ran out. 3 days in, I hadn't slept once. A ghost lady brought me food and told me how the underworld economy works. Basically, your living relatives burn money for you. No family sending cash? You're broke down here too. That made me shop even harder. I even bought fancy paper money, a paper mansion, and paper gold to burn for my own afterlife savings. Why depend on anyone else? Oh, and milk tea powder, my spiritual fuel. I used to work at a bubble tea shop, so I know all the recipes. Bought all the toppings too. Yi Fan came to check on me after a few days. He opened the door and jumped. My dark circles had dark circles. I looked worse than actual dead people, and I am a dead person. He suggested I rest. I told him I was fine. I was not fine. Then everything glitched. My vision went black, and the last thing I heard was someone yelling, "Oh no, another bug." She got sent to her world early. I hadn't even finished shopping yet. Every single glitch in this system finds me somehow. I woke up in a small room with white walls, old furniture, and a calendar on the wall that said 1964. So it worked. I'm here. Memories flooded into my brain. The girl whose body I'm in has my exact name and birthday. She's 16, lives in Beijing, just finished high school. Her parents were military heroes who died saving important research documents. Her grandparents were also revolutionary heroes, all gone now. Her adopted brother just died on a mission 5 days ago. The poor girl couldn't handle losing everyone and passed away from grief. That's when I showed up. This whole family is made of heroes. Meanwhile, I once cried because a vending machine ate my coin. First thing I did, check if my magic space came with me. I thought, go in, and suddenly, I was standing in front of a little grass hut with a tiny tree, a puddle of clear water, and about 2 acres of black soil. I looked everywhere for my magic spring, and then stared at the puddle. About 1 liter of water. That's it? That's my legendary power-up? I took a sip. Felt refreshed. No dramatic full-body detox like in other stories. Just nice water. Budget version magic spring.
Fine.
It works. Inside the hut was a mini apartment with a gas stove, sofa, TV, fridge, and storage cabinets. The cabinets were full of tiny pouches, each labeled with what's inside: pork, wheat seeds, and so on. All my shopping packed into little magic bags. Very organized. Full 5 stars for Yi Fan on that one. But wait, I was supposed to get 10 days of shopping and only got 6 before the system glitched and kicked me out. I'm definitely filing a complaint when I figure out how to contact him. Now about the story I landed in. There's a main character, Shen Qingli, who is supposedly the original girl's best friend. In reality, she's a jealous snake. The original girl shared everything with her, gave her food and gifts, treated her like a sister. But Shen Qingli secretly hated her for being prettier and richer. In the original story, after the girl dies, Shen Qingli comes to visit, finds the body, and instead of getting help, steals a jade gourd pendant from the dead girl's neck. Later, her blood activates the pendant and unlocks a plant-growing magic space. She rides that cheat code all the way to university, marries a military officer, and lives happily ever after. So basically, I existed just to deliver the cheat item to the real main character? Absolutely not. Not on my watch. Not even through the window. I grabbed the gourd pendant from my neck and found a needle. Time to do the blood drop activation thing before anyone else can. Right as I'm about to prick my finger, bang, 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 someone's pounding on my door. Yu, are you home? It's Shen Qingli, and she's practically breaking the door down. She'd been waiting outside, planning how to squeeze money and stuff out of me before she heads to the countryside. But suddenly she felt something important slipping away from her, something behind my door. I didn't hesitate for 1 second. I jabbed my finger and soaked that jade gourd in blood. It went dark, and words appeared in my head. Space merging. Please wait. Then it kicked me out. Shen Qingli burst in screaming. What were you doing? Why didn't you open the door? I looked at her, 2 braids, plain face, white dress, acting all entitled, and thought about how in the original book she said pretty girls just use their looks and only smart women like her last. Translation: she's not that pretty, so she made it a philosophy. What do you want?
Spit it out, I said.
She was shocked. The old me used to get all excited when she visited and send her home with bags of goodies. But that doormat is gone, honey. I'm here now. And deep down, she could feel it. Whatever important thing she was supposed to get was already gone.
Good.
I could feel Shin Qingli radiating pure evil energy at me. This girl was actually thinking about hurting me and taking my pendant.
Goo.
I grew up in an orphanage. The one thing I'm really good at is fighting. She put on her fake concerned voice, claiming she just found out about my brother's death.
Please.
The whole neighborhood knew 5 days ago. She was actually happy about it because finally she had something better than me, a complete family. The real reason she showed up? She's being sent to the countryside and wanted to squeeze money and supplies out of me, like she always did with the old me. I cut her off, told her I know she's been faking this friendship, said we're done, and literally shoved her out the door. Then I opened it one more time just to add, all the money and stuff you borrowed before?
Keep it.
But if you bother me again, I'm collecting every debt with interest. And trust me, I have the energy and the methods. Slammed the door. Her face twisted up like a demon. Good luck with that, girl. Now, on to the good stuff. My magic space finished upgrading, and I could finally go inside. I locked my door, closed the curtains, and entered. It was amazing. The little grass hut turned into a 2-story house. The sad puddle became an actual pond full of magic spring water. The soil expanded to about 5 acres of the richest, blackest earth I've ever seen. Plants grow in here at a rate of 1 day equals 1 year outside. And 1 day spent inside only uses up 1 hour in the real world. So, I basically have a time cheat on top of everything else. The space came with its own little farm, 20 chickens, 20 ducks, 20 geese, and 20 pigs, all self-feeding and self-managing. Eggs collect themselves automatically. There's even a forest area with wild chickens and baby boars running around. And here's the best part. If I want pork, I just think about it, and the pig dies and cuts itself into whatever shape I want. Instant butcher service powered by my brain. Disturbing?
Yes.
Convenient? Also yes. The house inside is modern. Open kitchen, huge fridge, comfy sofa, storage room with all my shopping neatly organized on shelves. Upstairs has a bedroom with green bedding and a big bathtub. This space is literally my dream home. I took a long bath, unpacked my skincare products, decorated the place, and felt like a queen. Then I remembered Grandpa had mentioned secret hiding spots around the real house. Time to treasure hunt before anyone else finds them. First, I searched the bedroom and found over 2,200 yuan in cash. That's huge. A strong worker only makes 20 to 30 yuan a month here. Also found tons of ration tickets for sugar, snacks, fabric, grain, and even a watch ticket my brother had sent home. He was such a good brother, kept only 10 yuan of his salary, and sent the rest to the original girl every month. Following Grandpa's clues, I cracked open hidden spots under the yard tree, under my parents' bed, beneath the kitchen's iron pot, and inside the bathroom walls. 50 big boxes and 10 small ones. I rushed them into my space and started opening. One small box had a bank book with 50,000 yuan in MY name. Others had property deeds, houses in Beijing, Shanghai, and Zhejiang. 7 big boxes were packed with cash wrapped in oiled paper.
7 full
boxes. I lost my mind, jumping around, hugging stacks of money, sniffing them like a weirdo. What a beautiful smell. I whispered to a pile of cash like it was a lover. Then I hit 3 more secret locations around the neighborhood, sucked everything into my space within 2 hours, didn't even stop to check what was inside. Everything felt heavy and expensive, and that's all I needed to know. I'm rich. I'm rich. Honestly, between the gold from my lottery winnings, the magic farm, and now boxes of hidden family treasure, I might actually be able to relax in this life.
Might.
Knowing my luck, something ridiculous is about to happen. I locked the door, dove into my space, and started counting money like a cartoon villain. A baby wild boar stood nearby watching me with its head tilted, clearly judging. I didn't care. I counted 3 times just to be sure. 1.6 million yuan in cash. In an era where a worker makes 20 to 30 yuan a month, I can literally hide and coast for the rest of this life. The other boxes had gold bars, jewelry, paintings, and antiques. Turns out Grandpa's family were secretly rich merchants. They told everyone they donated everything to the revolution, but come on, of course they stashed some away for the grandkids. I was strolling around my space with my hands behind my back, feeling like a tiny landlord. No need to risk going to any black market. I've read those novels where the main character puts on makeup and sneaks around selling stuff. That's not me. My makeup skills are tragic. My mascara makes my lashes look like dead fly legs, and eyeliner just makes my eyes smaller and uneven. And I can't disguise my voice either. I tried talking high-pitched once and gave myself goosebumps. Tried going deep and wanted to punch myself. So no undercover missions for me. I'll just sit on my money mountain. Thanks. I clasped my hands together and started thanking everyone, the heavens, Grandpa's ancestors, my whole family in this life. Then a voice behind me goes, "You should thank the fact that you won the lottery while pooping. Thank the person who fell on you and killed you. Thank the soul collector who grabbed the wrong ghost. And most of all, thank me." I spun around and there was Yi Fan, semi-transparent, standing right there.
Ye Fan.
You came. I got choked up. I was so worried my last 4 shopping days were gone. His brief moment of feeling touched vanished instantly. He rolled his eyes. Apparently, after I glitched out early, the contract wasn't fulfilled, so he was forced to spend most of his personal savings to open a time tunnel to reach me. His dating fund.
Gone.
Because of me. He handed me a jade token with my remaining shopping time stored inside, 96 hours total, usable in any amount, tracked to the minute. Much better than a fixed deadline. I grabbed his leg and declared him my big brother forever. Having connections in the underworld? That's power you can't buy. But actually, you can buy it. I pulled out a stack of that fancy spirit money I'd bought, 100 million in underworld currency, and handed it over as a little sister's greeting gift. His eyes went wide. Then I started pulling out gold mountains, silver mountains, and money trees from my stash. His eyeballs literally turned into gold coins. He hugged me spiritually and accepted the sisterhood on the spot. Money really does make ghosts do anything. We worked out a system. I'd burn the spirit money to the underworld post office for him, but wait a month so it doesn't look suspicious. Can't have him leave on a work trip and come back a billionaire. He also gave me a green communication stone, like an old-school pager. I can leave him messages and he'll reply when he sees them. But, and this is the embarrassing part, he set a voice password. I have to sing a specific phrase every time I want to use it. I wanted to die again just thinking about it. He arrived broke and grumpy. He left rich and grinning. Good trade for both of us. To celebrate, I decided to cook a proper meal. I pulled out pig trotters, pig lungs, intestines, heart, and tongue from my space. All pre-cleaned because I'm not an animal. Well, I'm eating animals, but I'm not one. I like to hold a whole pig trotter and gnaw on it like a cave woman. That's the only correct way. Made a big pot of braised everything with spices, soy sauce, and a store-bought spice packet. While it simmered, I took a bath in my space, then started planting vegetables, broccoli, cucumber, tomatoes, extra of those, they're my favorites, cabbage, eggplant, peppers, potatoes, onions, garlic, ginger, and more. Used 1 acre for veggies, 1 for wheat, 1 for rice. The magic soil doesn't care about climate or season. Everything just grows. Don't question it. I certainly won't. Life is good. I have money, food, a secret magic farm, and a ghost brother on speed dial. What could go wrong? I decided to save my store-bought grain and try eating what my magic space grows instead. I planted a whole acre of ginseng seeds in 100 days of space-time. I'll have endless 100-year-old ginseng. The thought alone made me cackle like a villain. Meanwhile, a baby wild boar at the edge of the forest watched me talking to myself again. That pig thinks I'm insane. Honestly, fair. I planted medicinal herbs too, mushroom kits, various roots, everything. If I need more later, things grow so fast in here, I can basically plan on demand. Back in the real kitchen, my braised meat was done. The smell was incredible. Lucky my house is at the end of the alley with no neighbors close by, or I'd have every kid in the neighborhood crying at my door. I ate a gorgeous plate of sliced meat with garlic sauce. But then I had a whole pot of leftover broth and nothing big enough to store it in.
Time to use my shopping app.
I went into my space, looked around nervously to make sure nobody was watching, pressed the jade token to my forehead, and sang the password. Pinduoduo, buy more, save more. Yes, I have to sing a shopping jingle every single time. I want to fight you, fan. I loaded up 100,000 yuan worth of gold as credit and bought stainless steel buckets in every size. 20 of each. Delivered instantly. But it used 15 minutes of my precious 96 hours just to buy buckets. I need to shop faster from now on. I stored all my braised food in buckets inside the space. My plan going forward: cook extra every day so I build up a stockpile and don't have to cook all the time. Genius lazy person strategy. Back in the space, all my vegetables had already grown. The tomatoes were as big as apples, bright red and absolutely delicious. The cucumbers were crisp and fresh. Best part, if I don't pick them, they stay perfectly ripe forever.
Norating.
I harvested everything, replanted immediately, and stuffed myself with tomatoes and cucumbers until I couldn't eat another bite. I had half a cucumber left, so I tossed it into the forest. Can't waste food. The animals can have it. That cucumber landed directly on the baby wild boar's head while it was decorating its new little burrow. The poor thing dove headfirst into its hole with its butt sticking out, shaking in terror. When it finally came back out and found the attacker was just a half-eaten cucumber, it was furious about the littering. Then it smelled it. Then it ate it in one gulp. The garbage seduced me, it told itself. Sure, piggy. I woke up in the middle of the night, cut some melon, washed some cherries, grabbed a milk, and sat down to plan my future. It's 1964. According to the book's timeline, things get chaotic starting next year and stay that way for about 9 years. The original girl's grandpa had arranged a newspaper job for her, already set up and waiting. Nobody else knew about it. My plan is simple: lay low for the next decade. I have no big dreams. I don't want to be a hero or take a college exam or become some inspiring success story. I did that grind in my last life because I had no choice. This time, I have 1.6 million in cash, gold bars, a magic farm, and property deeds. I just want to be a quiet little fish doing nothing. But I still need to show up at the newspaper job tomorrow. Not because I want to work, I'd rather nap. But if I'm unemployed and still eating well, people will start asking questions. And questions are the last thing I need right now. I sorted through the original girl's wardrobe. She had 7 pairs of leather shoes plus tons of nice clothes. No wonder Shin Qingli was jealous. I picked an outfit for tomorrow, had no problem wearing her stuff since I'm literally using her whole body, and went to sleep. Next morning I ate some frozen meat buns from my space and they were pretty bland. Mental note: learn to steam my own. The original girl could actually cook, and I have all her skills now. Just need practice. I was about to leave for my newspaper job when a tall, handsome guy with glasses showed up at my door. His name is Jiang Xing, my adopted brother's old army buddy. He dropped a bomb on me. Before my brother died, he wrote to Jiang Xing asking him to take care of me and immediately send me to the countryside in Dongshan province, where brother's uncle lives. My brain started spinning. Why would brother arrange all this before his mission? Did he know he was going to die? Does that mean he's actually alive somewhere? But in the original book, he never appears again after his death. I nearly thought myself bald trying to figure it out. Eventually, I gave up. Brother always looked out for me, so I'll trust his plan. If he says go, I go. Everything moved fast after that. Jiang Xing handled canceling my newspaper job, arranged to rent out my house so nobody takes it while I'm gone, gave me 180 yuan in countryside allowance straight from his own pocket, and handed over all his ration tickets. This man is terrifyingly efficient. I spent the next few days packing. I stripped that house bare. Clothes, shoes, iron pot, knife, bedding, my special pillow, canned food, powdered milk, everything. 5 enormous bundles. The house was so empty that when Jiang Xing came to take over, he thought he walked into the wrong place. Even a thief would have cried. Nothing left to steal. I hauled everything to the post office in 3 sweaty trips. The workers stared at me like I was relocating an entire civilization. The big bundles are mostly for show anyway. If I pull random stuff out of my luggage later, nobody will question where it came from. Smart, right? The real treasures like my thermos and bicycle went into my secret space. Can't risk breaking them during the trip. After all that work, I inhaled 2 packs of instant noodles and felt reborn. Then I hit the supply store to spend my remaining ration tickets. Bought rice crackers, honey cakes, green bean cakes for pounds of white rabbit candy, popped one in my mouth immediately. Pure milk heaven. Colorful hard candies, powdered milk, and cotton. Then I spotted my 2 cigarette tickets. Cigarettes are like gold for gift-giving in this era. I stared at those tickets with deep longing. I don't want to risk the black market, but I desperately need more cigarettes than 2 tickets can buy. I must have looked pretty intense standing there because the saleswoman leaned over and whispered, "Hey kid, you trying to buy cigarettes? Well. Looks like opportunity just knocked." I scored 3 whole cartons of cigarettes from a saleswoman at a markup. Worth every penny. Cigarettes are basically currency in this era. Bought so much stuff I had to duck into an empty alley, shove everything into my space, and parkour over a wall to a different street so nobody followed me. Smooth criminal moves. Treated myself to lunch at a state restaurant. Red braised pork, noodles, and chicken stew. Cost almost nothing, and the portions were massive. Honest portions from an honest era. Couldn't finish it all, so I packed the rest and went home. Back in my space, I ran an experiment with the spring water. Poured it directly on some wheat seeds and watched them sprout, grow, flower, and produce grain in seconds. This changes everything. My 100-year ginseng won't actually take 100 days. I tested different water-to-soil ratios and figured out the perfect formula. Science. With my countryside departure coming up, I went into full meal prep mode. I cooked huge batches of everything: tomato egg stir-fry, spicy pork, fried intestines, mushroom meat, clams, steamed fish, steamed shrimp, filling an entire steel bucket with each dish. Using my mind powers in the space kitchen is way faster than cooking by hand, though it drains my mental energy. After a while, my brain felt like mush, so I drank some rose tea and called a night. Next morning, I made buns. 128 of them. 60 with cabbage pork filling, 68 with scallion pork. All the ingredients came from my magic space, so the meat was extra tender and the dough was perfectly soft. I ate too and could have kept going. My stomach was full, but my mouth wanted more. When your ingredients are magically grown, even average cooking skills produce amazing food. I stacked all the buns in steel buckets with cloth between layers and stored them in my space. Meal prep complete. I'm basically running a one-woman restaurant with 0 customers. Shin Qingli came sniffing around one more time. I told her flat out, next time she shows up, I'm taking her IOUs to her parents. She left angry.
Good.
I don't want drama. I just want to eat buns in peace. Jiang Xing came the day before my departure. Handed me an envelope, asked if I was packed, said, "Safe travels," and left. 3 sentences. Total. This man treats words like they cost money. But clearly he and my brother were close. You don't go this far for someone's sister unless the friendship is real. The next morning I woke up at 5, took one last look at the house, locked the door, and headed to the station. New chapter of my life starting. I've got a magic farm, a space full of pre-cooked food, 1.6 million in hidden cash, gold bars, and 128 homemade buns. The countryside doesn't know what's coming. I got to the station super early, so I had the whole train car to myself. Sat by the window, pulled out a cabbage pork bun, and leaned my head out the window to eat it. People in this era have noses like bloodhounds. If I ate something that smelled good inside the train, I'd have every passenger drooling in my direction. So I ate half outside like a dog on a car ride, ducking back in to sip my powdered milk drink.
Classy. The peace didn't last.
Around 8, passengers started piling in, and the drama began immediately. This girl named Chun Lu was trying to sweet-talk some guy named Han Mo into swapping seats with someone, claiming she gets carsick. She looked perfectly healthy to me. Rosy cheeks, bright skin, just a bit thin, which describes literally everyone in 1964. Turns out Chun Lu has been clinging to Han Mo since childhood because he gave her a bread roll once when she was hungry. One roll. She latched onto him, called herself his little sidekick, then started eating his lunch every single day. The poor guy would starve until dinner. When she tried to get his parents to adopt her, they finally stepped in and told her dad to stop neglecting her. But instead of being grateful and backing off, she just stuck to Hanemo even harder. Now she's trying to trade her plain steamed buns for his braised pork lunch, telling him his food might have gone bad. Hanemo looked at her like she'd lost her mind. But somehow she mumbled something and he handed it over anyway. Free entertainment for me. I also spotted Shin Qingli on the train. We ignored each other completely. From what I could tell, her life has gone downhill fast. Her 3 brothers only gave her 20 yuan each instead of the promised 100. Their wives went on strike and nearly left them over it. Her parents didn't back her up either. And she kept staring at my neck where the pendant used to be. Empty, baby. It's mine now. For lunch, I made myself a rice bowl. Tomato egg on one side, pepper pork on the other. Mixed it all together and shoveled it in. Perfection. For dinner, I had a big box of handmade dumplings with wild herb and pork filling, dipped in vinegar sauce. I am eating better on a train in 1964 than most people eat at home. Nobody bothered me about my food, and honestly, the whole trip was drama-free on my end. I just watched other people's problems like a live soap opera. The overnight ride destroyed my backside. When the train finally pulled in the next morning, some guys offered to carry my luggage. I grabbed my little bamboo suitcase and sprinted off that train. My butt needed freedom. I stepped onto the platform, took a big breath of fresh countryside air, and immediately choked on a fat cloud of cigarette smoke someone blew right in my face. I was coughing with red eyes, while Shin Qingli watched from nearby, looking pleased. Real mature, girl. Real mature. Got off the train and headed straight to the registration area, where they sort all the city kids into different villages. I grabbed a window seat on the transport bus and immediately passed out. When they started calling names, I watched the sorting happen. Shun Qingli got sent to a different village. Thank goodness. She shot me a dirty look and left.
Perfect.
Bye forever, hopefully. Chun Lu started crying because she got separated from Hanemo. She begged the village leader to let her switch. He looked at her like she'd lost her mind. You think this is a market where you pick what you want? Hanemo was practically vibrating with joy at finally escaping his lifelong food thief. I don't know you. Leave me alone, he told her. The happiest breakup I've ever witnessed. I got assigned to East Ridge Village, which is exactly where my brother's family is from. Not a coincidence. My uncle, Sun Qingshu, spotted me right away. He's a tall guy, maybe 50-something, wearing his best clothes. Turns out he'd been practicing his warmest smile in the mirror since yesterday to make a good first impression. That's actually adorable. He brought a tractor to pick me up. Normally, they send an ox cart for new arrivals. He made sure everyone knew the tractor upgrade was because of me. Subtle, uncle. Real subtle. The other young people in my group noticed immediately that I have connections here. I could see them mentally filing that away under, be nice to this one. 2 guys, Zhonghua and Zhou Hongjun, each shoved a pack of cigarettes into Uncle's pockets and started complimenting him like professional flatterers. What an amazing leader you are. We'll follow your guidance. Treat us like your own kids. Uncle ate it up. He knows it's sweet talk, but hey, everyone likes hearing nice things. I went to the post office to grab my 5 massive packages. Took 3 trips. Uncle looked at the mountain of luggage and silently congratulated himself for bringing the tractor. With time to spare, I wandered over to the local restaurant. Breakfast options, corn porridge, seaweed soup, and buns with wild herbs and pork. I got a bowl of soup and 1 bun. The soup was delicious and the bun was so huge I could barely finish it. Then I bought 30 more pork buns to go. Just a light snack for later. Walked back to find Uncle and the tractor driver relaxing under a tree, smoking contentedly. Everything feels calm and manageable so far. I've got a tractor, an uncle who practiced his smile for me, and 30 buns. Countryside life might not be so bad. I gave Uncle and Zhangwo each a paper bag with 2 big meat buns. Zhangwo turned red and tried to refuse. No, don't waste them on us. Uncle tried to hand his back too. I put my hands behind my back and guilt-tripped them. You drove all the way here at dawn to pick me up and haven't eaten anything warm. Just take them. Zhangwo caved instantly. He started planning which family members would get bites. One bun for his mom, one for his wife and kid. This man is pure-hearted. Uncle looked at his nephew and silently wondered how his smart brother produced such a lovable dummy. Uncle saved his buns for his little cat at home, probably a kid with a big appetite. Then I showed them the bag of 30 extra buns I bought for the younger cousins back at the village. Uncle got quiet for a moment, not because of the buns, because a 16-year-old shouldn't already be this good at reading people and managing relationships. He could tell I'd been through a lot.
Yeah.
Orphanage survival skills hit different. The tractor ride took about 30 minutes. Along the way, Uncle explained the area. This whole region used to be ocean floor, so the ground is sandy. They grow peanuts and sweet potatoes in the sand. Apparently, they come out super clean because sand doesn't stick. The mountains have terraced fields for wheat and corn. And there's actual ocean nearby for fishing. After busy farming season, they even organize trips out to sea. People can also go collect seafood from the shore anytime. Honestly, this place sounds like a survival game where someone accidentally set the difficulty to easy mode. We drove through a small tunnel in the mountainside, and suddenly we were inside the mountains. It looked like something out of a fairy tale. Terraced fields with baby green winter wheat everywhere. The driver apologized that we missed planting season. Every single one of us city kids mentally screamed, "Thank goodness," while politely saying, "Oh, what a shame. The village is called East Ridge because it's on the east side of the mountain. West Ridge, South Ridge, North Ridge, real creative naming around here." For villages total inside this mountain, 12 production teams in ours, about 60 to 70 people per team. Almost everyone's last name is Sun. We pulled up to the educated youth quarters, connected houses made of seaweed roof and stone walls. Actually not bad. The youth leader, a tall guy named Yuan Zhu, came out to greet us. Uncle announced the housing situation: 5 people per room for free, or private rooms with a built-in stove and bed platform for 1 yuan per month. Everyone started calculating in their heads. Then came the moment I was waiting for. Chen Lu helpfully pointed out that I hadn't gotten off the tractor. Uncle shut that down fast. "Su Yu doesn't live with you all," and with that, Uncle patted Zhang Wo's shoulder. Zhang Wo shifted gears, and the tractor puttered away with me still on it, leaving behind a cluster of very jealous eyeballs. Having family connections in the countryside? Absolutely priceless. Uncle dropped me off at his house and went to handle business. His wife, Annie Chun, was waiting for me inside. She's warm and kind. Her voice reminds me of what a mom should sound like. Coming from an orphan, that hit me right in the feelings. I gave her the bag of buns and she immediately tried to make me take them back. "Save your money, girl. Every penny counts," I insisted. She insisted harder. We went back and forth like a polite tug-of-war. She told me she killed a chicken to stew for me tonight. I think I already love this woman. Meanwhile, at the youth quarters I'd skipped, the other new arrivals were checking out their housing options. 5-person shared rooms for free, or tiny private rooms for 1 yuan a month. Everyone except Chen Lu picked private rooms. Chen Lu did the math. She has less than 500 yuan total. Her stepmom and dad won't send her anything, and her lifelong meal ticket Hanemo is gone. Free housing it is. Honestly, respect. She's annoying, but she's practical. Back at Uncle's house, I noticed 3 heads stacked vertically in the doorway, peeking at me. 2 little kids and 1 adult man, all whispering and spying like a totem pole of curiosity. Uncle called them in. "Say hello." The kids. "Grandpa," the grown man in a weirdly soft and cute voice. "Grandpa," Uncle's face went blank. That last, "Grandpa," was deeply unnecessary. The 2 little ones are my cousin's kids, Kong Kong, age 5, and Zhuang Zhuang. The tall one is Ji Yanfeng, who I'm told to call Brother Ian. He's about 183 centimeters tall, skinny, with a face so pretty it's almost unfair, long hair falling over gorgeous peach blossom eyes that are full of absolutely nothing. Beautiful and completely empty upstairs. Like a supermodel goldfish. Uncle told me to call him Brother Ian. So I smiled and said, "Hi, Brother Ian." He looked confused. Then he started looking around, left, right, behind me, did a full 360 spin, and said with total sincerity, "Annie, I looked everywhere. There's no brother here." Dead silence. Everyone just stared. He thought I was talking to an actual brother standing nearby. Uncle finally sighed and said, "You two just address each other however you want." I moved on to the kids. Little Kong Kong introduced himself. 5 years old, big curious eyes, adorable. I secretly transferred some white rabbit candies from my space through my bag and stuffed a whole handful into his little hands. Good kids get candy. Andy rushed over trying to take them back. "One is enough. Save the rest for yourself." I blocked her. These kids are in patched-up clothes that are clean but clearly worn thin. A handful of candy isn't going to bankrupt me, and their happy faces are worth every piece. I'm only a few hours into village life, and I've already got a sweet auntie, 2 cute little cousins, and a beautiful idiot for a brother. This family is chaotic, and I kind of love it. Annie tried to stop me from giving candy to the kids, but I shook her arm and pouted. "This is between me and my juniors, stay out of it." Then I dumped a pile of white rabbit candies on the table for her too. She shook her head but sat back down. I could tell she already decided to treat me like family. Kong Kong was bouncing around protecting his candy stash. Zhuang Zhuang saw this and immediately ran up with his best manners. "Hello, beautiful Andy, I'm Zhuang Zhuang, I'm 8. Funny how polite kids get when candy is involved." I gave him a big handful too. Then Ji Yanfeng stepped forward in that weirdly cute voice. "Hello, beautiful auntie. I'm Ian. I'm 6 years old. Sir, you are a grown man who is taller than me. But okay, 6 it is." I grabbed a big handful of candy for him too, but after I gave it to him, he just stood there, staring at me, looking hurt, like a kicked puppy. Everyone was confused. Little Zhuang Zhuang cracked the case. "It's because Annie didn't pat his head like she did with me and Kong Kong." Ian's eyes instantly lit up like stars. He bent down and shoved his head right in front of me. "Beautiful auntie, I'm just a tall child." Apparently Zhuang Zhuang taught him that trick. When you want adults to like you, give them an excuse to treat you like a kid. This man is operating on baby logic, and honestly, it's working. I patted his fluffy head. He demanded 3 extra rubs because that's what the little kids got. The hair actually felt really nice. He ran off happy with the kids, clutching his candy like treasure. Uncle explained that Ian is a distant nephew who hid his head and became simple-minded. His real family can't take care of him for reasons. He's being raised here because the environment is nice. The explanation had more holes than Swiss cheese, but hey, everyone has secrets. Not my business. At noon, the whole family came home from the fields, and I met everyone. Uncle has 2 sons, Brother Jianmin and Brother Jianxi, with their wives and kids. Everyone was incredibly warm. Big brother told me to treat this place as home. Sister-in-law said if I don't want to do farm work, just ask Uncle for an easy job. Second brother tried to say something meaningful too, but Big brother already said everything, so he just went, "Yeah, same what he said," and looked annoyed. Apparently, this has been his whole life, always one step behind his brother. He told me that as a kid, he cried about always being second. His brother's comfort? "Well, I'll probably die before you. Feel better." He cried harder. Their parents beat Big brother that night. Both parents. Tag team. I've never felt this kind of warmth before. A real family, people who actually care, tease each other, and look out for you. In my past life, as an orphan, this was just something I watched other people have. Now these people are my family. It's almost too good, so I'm staying cautious. Time reveals true character, but for now it feels wonderful. Lunch was stewed chicken, steamed fish, greens, and my buns. I insisted everyone eat the buns. Ian ate 5 by himself. He shuffled over to me afterward, eyes squished into happy little crescents, and whispered, "Thank you, Auntie." Ian is so full. A grown man who looks like a model, saying that with pure, innocent joy. It broke my heart a little. After the famine years, just being full is a luxury for people here. I stood on my tiptoes to rub his head again. He bent down to make it easier for me. We've developed a system. After lunch, Uncle took me to see my new home. My brother's old house, already cleaned up and ready to move in. Things are falling into place. I have a home, a family that feeds me chicken, and a beautiful giant man-child who lets me pat his head. Life in the countryside is looking pretty good. Uncle was worried about me living alone, but I picked up a rock and crushed it into powder with one hand.
His jaw dropped.
Ian started clapping and cheering. Annie is amazing. He was already planning to drag me in front of the village kids who bully him so I could crush rocks and scare them. Then maybe beat them up too. Sorry, buddy, I'm not your personal bodyguard. My new house is at the edge of the village, near the mountain and a short walk from the ocean. Perfect location, private, quiet, no nosy neighbors. My brother picked this spot because he liked being far from drama. Smart man. Uncle had even built a proper wall around the yard so nobody can peek in. Most houses just have low fences. This man gets me. I wanted to empty my entire secret stash right there to thank him, but had to play it cool. The house has 3 rooms side by side: bedroom, kitchen, and a living room. The kitchen has 2 brand new iron woks, already seasoned and ready. Iron pots are nearly impossible to buy in this era, even with money and tickets. There's also a spare room with a heated bed platform connected to the kitchen stove. Heat from cooking warms the sleeping area. Genius old-timey engineering. My bedroom has a traditional brick bed with a bamboo mat, a new storage cabinet, fresh newspaper on the walls, and a wooden wardrobe that smells like fresh-cut wood. It's simple, but it feels like home. Ian wanted to stay and help me unpack. He looked at me with those big, wet puppy eyes. If he had a tail, it would have been wagging. I gave him 2 peanut candies and promised to play after dinner. He unwrapped one, but instead of eating it, he held it up to my mouth first. Auntie eats first. That hit me hard. Even with his mind the way it is, this man has more kindness and manners than most normal people. I understood then why Uncle's family treats him so well despite everything. I ate the candy, patted his head, and told him he's a good boy. He grinned so wide his face almost split in half. After he left, I started unpacking my ridiculous amount of luggage. The wrapping was too good. I could barely open my own packages. I sat on my bed, pulled out a warm blanket for the chilly ocean nights, and started picking out gifts for everyone. A carton of fancy cigarettes and 2 bottles of liquor for Uncle. A big green floral padded jacket with peonies for Auntie, bold and beautiful, perfect for her. Red scarves for the 2 sisters-in-law. Military water bottles for the 2 brothers, since they used to send my brother dried mountain goods every year. I've never had to pick family gifts before. In my old life, there was nobody to give anything to. Now I have a whole family to spoil, and honestly, picking out presents for people who actually care about you feels better than winning 600 million. Almost. Let's not get carried away. While digging through my stash, I found the colorful glass marbles. So pretty. I counted out 10 each for Kong Kong and Zhuang Zhuang. Then I remembered there's a 3rd child who happens to be 183 centimeters tall. If I leave him out, he'll definitely cry. I grabbed 10 more. Around 4:30, I woke up to aggressive knocking and 3 voices yelling, "Auntie! Auntie! Auntie!" One louder than the next. I felt like a chicken being called to lay an egg. Opened the door to find 2 small humans and 1 large human, all staring at me with sparkly eyes. I gave them each a piece of sticky rice cake, and we headed to Uncle's house. On the walk, the kids gave me a full nature tour. They caught an actual frog and lectured me about how it's a good frog that eats bad bugs, so we can't eat it. I nodded very seriously. They released it. That frog was probably 1 croak away from sending a goodbye letter to its family. Ian went quiet partway through the walk, eyes empty, totally zoned out, like his brain left the building. Zhuang Zhuang tugged my sleeve and said it's normal, happens every month now. He snaps back within 5 minutes. Sure enough, he came back looking confused and scared, then saw us and immediately went happy again. For 1 tiny second, though, I thought I caught something sharp flash in his eyes. But I blinked, and it was gone. At Uncle's house, I started handing out gifts. And that's when the real battle began. Auntie saw the gorgeous green floral padded jacket and immediately tried to shove it back at me. Take it back. I pushed it toward her. She pushed it at me. I pushed harder. She pushed harder. Back and forth, arms straining, voices rising, until a neighbor stuck their head in the door and yelled, "If neither of you wants it, give it to me." That finally broke the standoff. My arms were shaking. That gift-refusing wrestling match was more exhausting than a marathon. This is apparently a classic thing in this province. Noted. After dinner, the 3 kids ran off to show their marbles to the whole village. I went home. Back at Uncle's house, Annie sat alone stroking the jacket. She'd never owned a new padded coat in her entire life. Most families around here share one winter coat between 7 or 8 people. Whoever needs to go outside gets the coat. Everyone else stays home. She got emotional thinking about how my grandpa used to send their family food and money during the worst years. She told Uncle that from now on, I'm her real niece.
Period.
Uncle sat there happily puffing the fancy cigarettes I gave him, looking like the most content man alive. Both brothers and their wives loved their gifts too. Big brother's wife kept trying on the red scarf in front of the mirror, posing from every angle, asking her husband if she looked good. He glanced once and said, "You'd look beautiful in a potato sack." She scolded him for only looking once, but was clearly pleased. Their evening got romantic after that. Second brother's wife was also admiring her scarf, and after a while he looked at her and sighed. "Honey, you've been sticking your butt out posing all evening. Aren't you tired?" These two families are absolutely hilarious. I gave out some scarves and water bottles and accidentally set the mood for the entire village. You're welcome, everyone. Back at both brothers' houses, my gifts caused quite a stir. Second brother's wife, you spent 20 minutes with her, but sticking out of a giant chest, digging for fabric she'd been saving since her wedding. Her dad made that chest so big she could fit 3 of herself inside it. She wanted to use her precious saved fabric to make me something as a return gift. Second brother asked if she was sure, since she'd been saving it for years. She smacked his head and told him his brain never developed properly. He mentally planned to tattle to his mother-in-law next visit. These two are a comedy show. Meanwhile, I went home, tried to close my curtains, and realized I had no curtains. Rookie mistake. I found some thick fabric, hung it up, and dove into my magic space. Harvested more wheat and rice. Checked on my ginseng babies. All growing beautifully. 2 more months until I have 100-year-old ginseng. I stood there laughing with my hands on my hips like a cartoon villain surveying her empire. Checked on the farm animals. Nice and plump, very suitable for cooking. The chickens, ducks, and geese suddenly felt a cold chill and didn't know why. I decided to finally explore the forest in my space. Found rabbits, snakes, wild goats, wild pigs, and pheasants, but no dangerous predators.
Perfect.
I can hunt these in here and bring the meat out to eat in the real world without anyone getting suspicious. Then I accidentally kicked something soft. It squeaked. A baby wild boar, cat-sized with little yellow stripes, tiny eyes, and stubby legs. It puffed up and tried to look scary. Then it charged at me. This piglet the size of a kitten was trying to fight me. I scooped it up and cuddled it while saying, "Wow, you'd be great for braised pork or a roast." It went completely stiff with terror. I put it down after a bit. It sprinted back to its den, fully convinced it had scared me away with its mighty screaming. That pig has the self-confidence of a lion and the body of a football. After my wildlife encounter, I took a bath, did a full skincare routine, and made myself a strawberry milkshake with real milk from my farm, fresh strawberries, jam, ice, and whipped cream. Perfection. Tomorrow is a rest day for new arrivals. I plan to sleep in.
Planned.
6 a.m. Eyes wide open. Tried rolling over. Tried lying flat. Tried willing myself unconscious. Nothing worked. My body clock had already adjusted in less than 10 days. This stupid biological clock, I yelled at the ceiling. Grumpily got up, washed my face with freezing well water, and sat at my table staring into space, wondering what to eat. Settled on tofu pudding and fried dough sticks. Went into my space, found the jade token, cleared my throat, and had to sing the shopping jingle again. Pinduoduo, buy more save more, happy shopping Pinduoduo. I couldn't even get through it without laughing at myself. The store opened and I searched for tofu pudding powder. Found a brand with bulk deals. Buy 20 bags, get 5 free for barely 6 yuan. Buy 30, get 5 free for 9 yuan. The shopping addiction continues, even in 1964. I couldn't figure out which bulk deal was cheaper, reached for my phone out of habit, no phone obviously, and had to do math on paper like a caveman. Turns out 30 bags was the best deal. Bought it. then realized I accidentally ordered the wrong type, tofu making powder instead of tofu pudding powder. My brain. Bought the right one, plus chive sauce and frozen mini dough sticks and logged out. Made myself the most glorious breakfast. Tofu pudding with a savory egg drop soup topping full of mushrooms and ham, finished with a spoonful of chive paste. It jiggled perfectly when I tapped it with a spoon. Duong, duong, duong. I looked at my bowl and told myself out loud, I am so talented. Daily self-compliment check. Fried up the dough sticks too. The whole meal was delicious, though I reminded myself not to rely on processed stuff too much. I'll trade for some real soybeans and make proper tofu pudding from scratch next time. Meanwhile, back at the youth quarters, things were apparently going sideways without me. Two older female residents, Li Mengmeng and He Hongmei, came back from work, saw new people had moved in, and lost their minds. Li Mengmeng stormed into the yard, pointing fingers at Yi and Chenlu, screaming, "Which one of you little tramps moved into my room? Get out! Excuse me, your room? It's government housing, lady." He Hongmei stood at the door pretending to be neutral, while secretly hoping Li Mengmeng would bully the newcomers into renting private rooms so they'd keep the shared space to themselves. Classic move. Let the loud friend do the dirty work. But Chenlu? Chenlu was not having it. Now that her lifelong meal ticket Hanemo is gone, she's channeled all that clinging energy into pure combat mode. She shoved the youth leader aside and went full attack. This is public property. When did it become yours? You breathe air every day. Does that mean you own the atmosphere too? Then she dropped the nuclear bomb. Comradely, I have reason to suspect you're an enemy agent trying to destroy the unity of the people. The entire courtyard went dead silent. In this era, that accusation is basically a death sentence. Li Mengmeng started sweating like she'd been thrown into a furnace. She looked desperately at He Hongmei for help. He Hongmei suddenly developed a severe case of not knowing her. Yi watched Chenlu with new respect. On the train, she'd thought Chenlu was just an annoying, clingy girl, but without Hanemo around, she's actually a tiny warrior, like a cockroach that learned kung fu. The youth leader Yuanzhu was impressed too. Another guy leaning against the kitchen door just smirked at the chaos, probably thinking this place is turning into a reality show. Li Mengmeng stammered, "That's not what I meant." Chenlu stared her down with a cold smile. This girl survived a wicked stepmother since childhood. Some loud roommate is nothing. I missed all of this, of course. I was at home eating fancy tofu pudding and complimenting myself. Sometimes the best drama is the one you don't attend. Back at the youth quarters, Li Mengmeng's drama ended with a whimper. She finally realized her best friend, He Hongmei, was never really on her side, apologized to Chenlu, and slunk away in shame. He Hongmei stood there pretending to be invisible. Chenlu gave her one cold look that basically said, "Your turn is coming." Everyone mentally updated their notes. Chenlu, dangerous, do not mess with.
Li Mengmeng, idiot.
He Hongmei's snake. The welcome dinner got postponed to the next day because of all the chaos. I missed everything. Blissful ignorance. Chenlu and Yi came by my place to invite me to the dinner. Chenlu was openly jealous of my private house. Yi was secretly jealous, but tried to hide it. They had to rush off to town for supplies, so the visit was quick. I grabbed a little basket, a small hoe, and my water bottle, and headed for the ocean. On the way, Ian's door creaked open like a haunted house. "Auntie, where are you going?" He was wearing clothes that were basically more patches than fabric. I told him I was going to the beach to look for seafood. He yelled, "Wait for me," and sprinted inside to grab his stuff. 10 minutes later, the ocean. I'd never seen it in person before. I was an inland city girl who only knew the sea from short videos. I screamed, "Ocean, I'm here," like a total maniac. Ian flinched and quietly decided I have the same crazy disease as the village lady named Suehua. He also noted that I call him brother when he should be calling me auntie. He decided to keep my mental illness a secret to protect my feelings. What a sweetheart. What a completely wrong sweetheart. The rocks were covered in oysters and nobody was eating them. Criminal waste. I attacked them with my hoe, smashed the first dozen to bits because I couldn't control my strength, finally got one out clean, and slurped it raw like I'd seen people do online. So good. Ate 7 or 8 before my body said, "Too much ocean flavor, please stop." Then I looked up and Ian was gone. My brain went from oysters to code red in half a second. I screamed his name. No answer. Then I spotted something round and black floating in the water. Oh no. Oh no. That's his head. He's drowning and only his head is above water. I threw my hoe, screamed, "Ayn, don't be scared, Auntie's coming," and charged into the ocean like a heroic idiot. The water reached my chest. Then a wave hit, and my feet left the ground. That's when I remembered a critical detail about myself. I can't swim. Help. Somebody save us, I screamed, flailing around. Also, I could now see clearly that the head I was trying to rescue was actually a fishing buoy. A round black float. My nearsightedness almost killed me over a ball. Just as I was about to secretly escape into my magic space, something grabbed my waist hard, like a giant crab clamping down, and started dragging me toward shore. I turned my head and saw the most unfairly beautiful face. Wet hair, squinting peach blossom eyes, water dripping down pale skin, and
Ups? Actual ups?
for one romantic second I thought, so this is why people marry their rescuers. Andy? Auntie, right? My rescuer is my idiot nephew.
Romance canceled.
He sat me on the beach and lectured me. "Andy, you shouldn't zone out while bathing. Don't go into deep water. Be a good girl, and listen, he thinks I went into the ocean to take a bath and then daydreamed. He's now worried about how to earn money to treat my crazy disease, since he's only a 5-year-old big baby." One second I was grateful. The next second I wanted to smack him. I grabbed his ear gently. "I went in because I thought you were drowning. But Annie, you were the one drowning," he mumbled.
He's technically right.
Annoyingly, perfectly, logically right. For a guy who claims to be 6 years old, his debate skills are flawless. Ian could tell I was upset, so he dumped out his little basket to show me what he'd been doing while I was busy, almost dying. The boy had been diving. He pulled out huge sea cucumbers, giant sea snails, clams, and several big crabs that were too busy pinching each other to escape. They literally could have run away, but chose violence instead. Relatable, honestly. I shoved everything into containers before any of it could flee. Ian gave it all to me. "Grandpa says these are very nutritious," he said. I could tell he almost added, "good for the brain," but stopped himself. His survival instincts are better than mine, apparently. He also taught me that the best oysters aren't the ones stuck to rocks. They're the rolling oysters that break free and roam the ocean floor eating whatever they want. Basically the free-range chickens of the sea. We found a bunch and headed home loaded with treasure. I sent Ian to invite Uncle and Annie for lunch, gave him a honey date as delivery fee, and got to work. Inside my space, I used mind powers to shuck all the oysters perfectly, no struggling with shells like a normal person. Cooked the snails and clams with no water, just heat. Then tackled the sea cucumbers. These things are wild. When scared, they literally vomit out their own intestines to confuse predators, then grow new ones later. I want that skill. Imagine being in an awkward conversation and just ejecting your guts as a distraction. Dream ability. I'd never cooked sea cucumber before, so I looked up a recipe and made braised sea cucumber with scallions. Needed stock but didn't have time to make any, so I hopped on the shopping app and bought bouillon cubes. Modern problems, modern solutions. Made garlic oysters too. The key is the garlic sauce. Chopped garlic and chili peppers, fried half in cold oil until golden, then mixed in the raw half with soy sauce and sugar. Laid vermicelli noodles and oysters over cabbage in a pot, drizzled the sauce on top, covered and steamed. Also whipped up a cucumber clam salad, spicy sea snail salad, and a big pot of 2-color rice. Only Auntie and Ian could make it. Uncle took the kids to town. Auntie walked in and immediately scolded me for spending money. I grabbed her hand and said, "I didn't spend a single penny. We caught all this from the ocean." Then I winked at Ian to back me up. He stared at me, confused. Then he got worried because my eye kept twitching. He sat down on a little stool by the door and let out the most dramatic sigh I've ever heard from a grown man, looking genuinely distressed about all my medical conditions, Auntie, and I burst out laughing. All three of us ate until we couldn't move. Ian had 3 huge bowls of rice and demolished nearly every dish. After he left, Annie told me more about his story. When his uncle first brought him here, he was terrified. He barely dared to eat, just tiny bites, flinching like he'd get hit for taking too much. When Uncle took him to a doctor, they found his body was covered in marks, pinch bruises, whip scars from canes, almost no untouched skin. My heart sank. This beautiful, gentle, kind man who shares his seafood and saves drowning idiots and asks for head pats, someone had beaten him until he broke. No wonder he became a child. Sometimes the safest place to hide is inside a younger version of yourself. I'm going to take care of this guy. Not because I have to. Because anyone who's been through that and still offers his food to others before eating deserves someone in his corner. Andy told me more about Ian's situation. His uncle built him a house and promised to send 10 yuan a month. He sent money exactly once, then nothing for over 2 years. When Ian first arrived, he could work in the fields, but his health has been getting worse and worse. The village doctor can barely handle a cold without flipping through his old notes, and Ian isn't allowed to leave the county. So basically, everyone's just watching him slowly fade away with no way to help. Auntie's words stuck with me. He should have been an eagle. He shouldn't die unknown like this. But we're too ordinary, too small. What can we do except watch? I sat under the tree in my magic space, scratching my head. What am I supposed to do? I'm not a doctor. Bonk. Something hit me on the head. Who dares attack me? I looked around. Nothing but a bright green leaf on the ground with 2 words written on it. Medical skills. Before I could even react, the leaf flew up, slapped onto my forehead, and disappeared. Then my brain nearly exploded. Mountains of medical knowledge started flooding in like someone turned a fire hose on my brain. I passed out. When I woke up, a snotty child's voice said, "How useless." It was the tree. The tree talks. It's called the Wisdom Merit Divine Tree, and apparently it saw me wanting to help Ian, who has great merit, so it gifted me a leaf of instant medical knowledge. But you couldn't even absorb it properly. Is your brain full of paste? Honestly? Maybe. I checked what knowledge actually stuck. The clearest thing in my head was postpartum care for mother pigs and how to make pigs gain weight faster.
So,
I can treat animals now. What? All those brilliant medical masters' knowledge, and you only absorb the animal parts. Well, maybe a tiny bit of human medicine too. I held up my fingers about a centimeter apart. The tree gave up on me. Just be good to Ji Yanfeng. Good deeds for him are good deeds for yourself. Then it kicked me out of the space so hard I hit the ground. Armed with my brand new veterinary degree and approximately 2% of actual human medical knowledge, I marched straight to Ian's house. Time to play doctor. Sit still. Annie's going to play a game. Give me your hand and I'll give you candy. Ian went pale. Andy, please don't talk like that. It scares me. A big man, scared of what? That makes it worse. He scooted his chair away. Apparently, when he was wandering homeless, some creepy man once said almost exactly the same thing to a girl. Little girl, let Ol Zhang feel your hand, and I'll buy you meat. Ha ha ha. And Ian helpfully acted out the creepy voice and face for me. I looked like a pervert trying to lure him.
thanks, Ian.
Really helpful comparison. After a brief, disciplinary head-ruffling session, he cooperated. I bought a pulse-reading pillow from the shopping app and tried to take his pulse like a proper doctor. His pulse felt like a pulse. I furrowed my brows dramatically. Switch hands, more dramatic frowning. Ian stopped breathing from anxiety. Finally, I announced my diagnosis. Your heartbeat is a bit fast. That's because I scared him. I couldn't read anything from his pulse. My entire medical career might actually just be pig obstetrics. Your heart is very healthy. Could keep beating for another 180 years, I said with an awkward grin. He stared at me. I may be simple, but I'm not stupid. I looked around his room. Tiny, clean, but heartbreaking. His blanket was paper-thin, more patches than fabric. No mattress, just a straw mat. One small pillow. Why don't you use a thicker blanket? This is Ian's only blanket. He clutched it protectively, worried I was about to steal it. I sneaked 2 big apples out of my space and gave him one. He secretly turned around and wiped it with a handkerchief before eating. When he bit into it, he said, "Annie is so delicious. The apple is delicious, not Annie." I asked about his family. He has an uncle, an aunt, and cousins. When I asked if they treat him well, he went quiet for a long time. "Uncle is good to Ian," he finally said. "Just the uncle. Nobody else." That silence told me everything I needed to know. So his aunt, older cousin, and younger cousin were the ones who hurt him. Only his uncle was kind. That tracks with what Annie told me about the abuse marks. Ian looked at me with the most serious expression I've ever seen on him, almost like a normal adult, and asked, "Andy, will you always be good to me?" I didn't lie to him. I can't promise always.
People change.
But I promise I'll never hurt you on purpose, he smiled. Full smile, crescent moon eyes, and oh my god, dimples? This man has been hiding dimples this whole time? My maternal instincts went nuclear. Anyone who could abuse this sweet boy deserves a special spot in my personal revenge list. Wisdom tree or no wisdom tree, I'm taking care of this kid from now on. I went home, grabbed a nice thick 5-pound blanket from my space, and brought it over. His eyes went huge. Then he forced himself to look away. Ian can't accept this. Why not? You obviously want it. His eyeballs were physically chasing the blanket around the room while his mouth said no. No work, no reward. Ian has nothing to give Andy. A principled fool. I know how to handle this. I told him today's incredible seafood lunch was all thanks to him. His smile started creeping back. Really? Ian is amazing? Ian isn't. Useless? Someone has been telling this boy he's worthless. My fists are itching. Wherever his aunt and cousins are right now, they all sneezed simultaneously.
Good.
I hope their soup was cold. I listed his good qualities. Great swimmer, excellent at finding seafood, polite, kind, handsome. He kept grinning wider and begging more. More, I ran out of compliments.
You're tall.
And you eat a lot. That's all I had. He didn't care. He was beaming. But he still wouldn't take the blanket until I suggested a trade. 3 days of collecting seafood for me in exchange. A fair deal. He finally accepted, practically vibrating with joy. Then he told me his story, and it destroyed me. His earliest memory is waking up on a mountain with no idea who he was, where he came from, or even his own name. He survived by hunting wild chickens and roasting rabbits, drinking from streams. His memory would reset. Sometimes he'd wake up in a completely unfamiliar place with no clue how he got there. One day he woke up in a city alley. Couldn't find his way back to the mountain. Hadn't eaten in 3 days. Street kids threw rocks at him. He was lying there dying, watching sparrows on a rooftop, thinking how lucky birds are, they can fly wherever they want. Then he knocked down 6 sparrows with rocks. The man has AIM, roasted them, and was eating his 4th when a well-dressed 6-year-old boy appeared at the alley entrance, drooling. "I'll trade you a corn bun for your sparrow." The kid's name was Song Song. He was 6 and had never tasted roasted sparrow. Ian was so happy to have a friend that he handed over 2 roasted sparrows and inhaled the corn bun in 3 bites. Song Song took his first bite. Delicious. Second bite. Weird aftertaste, but okay. Third bite. Blegh. He fought the urge to vomit, failed, and started foaming at the mouth. Ian panicked and carried him to a doctor. The doctor asked what happened. "He ate roasted sparrow," said Ian. "Did you pluck the feathers?" "Remove the guts." Silence. The doctor's apprentice helpfully added, "So you fed him bird poop, intestines and all." From the back room. "You fed me poop?" Look, Ian was literally starving. Removing guts meant less food. His survival logic was flawless, even if his cooking technique needed work. They became best friends after that. Song Song brought him corn buns. Ian made him roasted sparrows. Properly cleaned this time. Song Song told him about white rabbit candies and promised to share one on his birthday. The day before his birthday, Song Song brought Ian a tattered little blanket, his old sleeping mat, cotton black and hard, stuffing poking out everywhere. His mom told him to throw it away, but he thought of his friends sleeping on bare ground with no cover. That ratty little blanket was the first thing anyone ever gave Ian. And now I just gave him his second. A real, warm, thick one. I'm not crying. I'm just allergic to sad backstories. That's all. Ian told me the rest of his story with Song Song, and it gutted me. He woke up before dawn the next day, hiked to the mountain, caught 3 wild chickens and 2 rabbits, ate 1 rabbit himself, cleaned and roasted the rest, properly this time, no guts, and headed back to give Song Song a birthday present. But when he got to his little camp, everything was destroyed. His stone cooking stove was kicked apart. And his little blanket, the one Song Song gave him, the one he'd washed carefully, and even woven a bamboo cover for to make it look new, was gone. He went to Song Song's house anyway. A sweet old grandma opened the door. Before Ian could speak, Song Song ran out crying. I'm so sorry. Then Song Song's mom appeared, fat and mean, holding Ian's blanket. She called him a dirty thief, said the blanket was hers to throw away, and threatened to break his legs if he ever came near her son again. The kind grandma shrank into a corner, too scared to speak. Song Song was pinned down with a hand over his mouth. Ian quietly put down his basket of roasted meat. Song Song, happy birthday. This is my gift. I'm glad I met you. Then he walked away. He could hear Song Song screaming his name from behind a locked door. That night, Ian hiked back to his mountain alone. And he learned a lesson that makes my blood boil. Even things other people throw away don't belong to him. He is nothing that's truly his. Did I need to stop thinking about this, or I'll go find that woman and crush rocks in her face? Anyway, moving on to lighter things. I brought 10 eggs to the youth quarters for the welcome dinner. Everyone introduced themselves. Yuan Zhu the leader, age 20. He Hongmei the snake, 19. Li Mengmeng the dummy, 18. Qin Shang the silent handsome iceberg, 20. Model face. Looks soulful staring at literally anything including dogs. Chen Lu the fighter, 19. And the rest of us. Dinner was actually nice. Everyone contributed something. My eggs became pepper scrambled eggs. Yi brought canned meat. Chen Lu had dried fruit, and someone else added canned fruit and cured meat. No drama, no passive-aggressive comments, no bizarre power plays. Turns out that's because Chen Lu had already established herself as the unofficial sheriff of the youth quarters. She and Li Mengmeng, former enemies turned reluctant partners, now team up to shut down any troublemaker who arrives. The enforcer duo nobody asked for, but everybody needed. Yuan Zhu just sits back and enjoys the peace. As for Xin Qingli, I heard she couldn't handle farm work, married the village leader's son for an easier life, then later ran off with some guy when college exams reopened. Abandoned her husband and kid. Never heard from again. What a journey. What an absolutely predictable journey. Next morning, first day of actual work. I put on long sleeves, sunscreen, a straw hat, and gloves. 8 big buns, mushroom soup, and pickled radish for breakfast. Stepped outside and found Ian already locking his door, ready to go. We walked to the village together. People stared and whispered the whole way. Behind us, the gossip squad went into overdrive. One auntie proudly announced she knew who I was, the village leader's brother's adopted family's daughter, citing a source chain of, my nephew's sister-in-law's brother's sister told me. Nobody could follow that family tree, but everyone nodded like they understood.
I don't care about gossip.
Everyone talks behind everyone's back. That's just life. At the threshing ground, there were over 1,000 people gathered. Team leaders stood at the front with their villagers behind them. I spotted the educated youth standing in their own group and jogged over. Ian bounced along right behind me like a loyal puppy. First day of farm life. Let's see how this goes. Uncle gave a short pep talk at the morning assembly, welcomed the new arrivals, and sent everyone off to work. He'd already arranged for me to be on Team 3 doing the easiest job, collecting pig feed grass. 5 baskets a day, 3 work points. Not exactly a career, but I'm here to survive, not be employee of the month. I slipped a pack of cigarettes to my team leader, Uncle Defew. He tried so hard to act casual, but the second I walked away, he whipped them out of his pocket and started examining them like a jeweler with a diamond. Uncle strolled up, pulled out his cigarettes, also for me, lit one up, and said, "My niece gave me these." Uncle Defia's face was priceless. These two old men competing over who has the more generous niece, and it's the same niece. Then things got weird. Really weird. I walked up to the pig shed and heard voices. Not human voices. Pig voices. Pig 1, I didn't eat enough breakfast. Well, I sure did. Pig 6 couldn't even compete with me. That wasn't Pig 6 food you stole. That was mine. I saw everything. Pig 6 was eating our poop, and then Pig 1 shoved him aside with her butt. Pig 2, you can't even get to the poop while it's still warm. I stood there, mouth hanging open. My medical knowledge download from the wisdom tree apparently came with a bonus feature. I can understand animal language. Then one pig squealed. Pig 1. The crazy boy is here. Hide. Every single pig looked up, saw Ian, and stampeded into their shelter, piling on top of each other in terrified silence. Ian stood at the gate, calmly scanning the pen. "I'm looking for naughty pigs," he told me, eyes full of disappointment. "But they're all behaving today." One pig couldn't keep quiet. "Phew, good thing I'm fast." Ian vaulted into the pen like an Olympic gymnast. In one smooth motion, he grabbed the squealing pig by the ear and smack, 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 3 slaps across the face. The pig was stunned. Before it could cry, the lead pig whispered, "Don't say anything." Too late. Ian heard rustling and gave that pig 3 slaps too. Equal opportunity pig discipline. Every pig in that pen froze. Not a sound. Not a twitch. Living statues. An old woman's voice saved them. "Little Yen is here." It was Grandma Xiao, the pig keeper, a thin, frail lady who looked like she used to be beautiful. She gave Ian and me each a piece of homemade malt candy from a carefully folded handkerchief. It was genuinely delicious, sweet, chewy, full of grain flavor. She explained that before Ian showed up, the pigs were absolute nightmares, fighting, escaping, destroying everything. One even knocked her down and stepped on her foot. Ian helped her that day, and since then, he's been the self-appointed pig trainer. The pigs are now the most well-behaved livestock in the village. Terrified into obedience. I now have a medical degree in pig obstetrics, and I can eavesdrop on pig gossip. My skill set is becoming increasingly specific and increasingly useless for human society. But hey, at least I'll always know which pig is eating poop. I watched Ian squat on the ground, poking ants with a stick while Grandma Xiao told me how he trained the pigs. Apparently, he spent a whole week cleaning their pen, then started having serious conversations with them about proper behavior. When they didn't comply, everyone got an equal opportunity slap. I mean, if I were a pig and some beautiful maniac kept smacking me every time I stepped out of line, I'd behave too. Ian reminded us we needed to go. The pigs would be hungry if we didn't collect their grass. Always worried about feeding the same pigs he terrorizes. This man contains multitudes. While cutting grass, I noticed a group of kids working nearby. Ian kept sneaking glances at them, clearly wanting to join in, but then looked away sadly and walked off into the trees alone. That broke my heart. Time for operation. By Ian some friends. I walked over to the kids, 6 of them, and introduced myself. Then I casually pulled out a handful of shiny, colorful hard candies. Their eyes went huge. Little mouths fighting the urge to drool. A sharp girl named Chin Area spoke up. "Pretty sister, what do you want us to do?" Smart kid. She doesn't believe in free lunch. She's 10 but looks 5. Tiny, dark-skinned, hands cracked like tree bark. Turns out her grandma calls her a money-wasting girl, makes her do all the housework, cook, babysit her brother, forage for wild vegetables, and collect seafood. Gets beaten if the seafood isn't good enough. This candy is the first she's ever tasted in her life. I wanted to scream. I offer them a deal. 5 baskets of pig grass for 30 candies. They huddled together for a group meeting like tiny executives. Then I added my condition they have to include Ian when they play. Little Tiger frowned. But my mom says stupid is contagious. I promised them it absolutely isn't. They made me do a pinky swear level oath. If I'm lying, I'm a dog. I said it with a straight face. Childhood contracts are legally binding, apparently.
Deal done.
Candies distributed. I patted Aria's head and told her she's amazing. She turned red. First compliment of her entire life. Little Tiger shoved his head forward too. I'm also good, so I patted his head too.
Clang.
I turned around. Ian was standing there, eyes red, staring at my hands on other people's heads. He dropped whatever he was holding. His expression was pure betrayal. I left for 5 minutes and he caught me patting other heads. In his mind, I was cheating on our head-patting arrangement. He looked like a puppy watching its owner pet the neighbor's cat. Ian, come meet your new friends. He didn't move. Just stood there looking abandoned. A voice in his head was probably saying, see? You're nothing special to her. She gives everyone candy and head pats. Stop hoping. I walked over and tried to reach up and pat his head.
He dodged.
This giant man-child actually swerved his head away from me like a sulking cat. I gritted my teeth and explained, I gave them candy and patted their heads so they'd agree to play with you. I did it for you. His ears twitched.
Processing.
Guilt started creeping across his face. I hit him with the big guns. Ian is the most capable, most polite, best at catching seafood, tallest and biggest eater I know. I ran out of material. Point is, you're my number one. Always. His mouth started twitching upward, but he fought it. Then he crossed his arms, turned slightly away, and went, humph, but his pretty eyes were peeking at me sideways, basically screaming. Keep going. Say more nice things. Then maybe I'll forgive you. This man has the emotional manipulation skills of a professional. He says he's 6 years old, but his guilt-tripping game is at least 35. I somehow instantly understood Ian sideways. Keep complimenting me, look. I straightened up like a soldier and declared with full conviction, Andy likes Ian the most because Ian is the goodest. His grin spread so wide it nearly left his face. Then he leaned down close to me, so close I could see his skin had 0 pores, 0 fuzz, 0 imperfections.
How?
What's his skincare routine? I short-circuited for a second before he pouted. Pat my head, right? Yes. Head pats. Good boy. I rubbed his head so aggressively I gave him a cowlick that refused to lie flat no matter how hard I pushed it down. He graciously forgave me, and I brought him over to meet the kids. Little Tiger thumped his chest and swore he'd keep his word. Aria nodded seriously. Within minutes, all the kids' heads were huddled together whispering and giggling like they'd been friends forever. Ian was Ian. Mission accomplished. Kids' friendship is so beautifully simple. No applications, no background checks. Just wanna play? And you're in the group. I made a quiet decision sitting on that rock. I can't save the world. I'm nobody special. But this one person right in front of me, beaten, poisoned, abandoned, still shares his food with others and says please and thank you. If I can help him, I will. Call me dramatic, call me whatever. He's under my protection now. The kids finished all 5 baskets of pig grass before noon. Early retirement for me. Ian carried 1 basket on his back and 2 in each hand. I walked behind him with my hands clasped behind my back. I looked exactly like a rich landlord watching peasants work.
Nos jam.
We delivered the grass to Grandma Xiao. She gave me a knowing look. She could tell I didn't lift a single finger, but Ian seemed happy, so she let it slide. Then a man walked out of the pig shed. Old, shabby clothes but immaculately clean, straight-backed, sharp eyes. This guy screamed military. His name is Old Lin. He took the grass without a word. Ian lit up. Annie, I'm gonna go play with Uncle Lin. And he ran off after the man, leaving me standing there. 5 minutes ago, he was devastated that I patted other heads, and now he's abandoning me for some dude at the pig farm? Fickle little, fine. I'll go home and eat delicious food without him. Humph. He came to my house 10 minutes later anyway. He sat on my kitchen stool and gave me Ian's greatest hits. Uncle Lin edition. Uncle Lin is so nice, he doesn't think I'm stupid. He gave me a corn bun, even though he had no food himself, blah blah blah. The truth, which Ian conveniently left out. Lin Yaogua didn't voluntarily give him food. Ian would stand at the pig shed door while Lin ate, watching every bite, chewing air in sync, staring with those enormous sad eyes. Nobody can eat under those conditions. The man surrendered his food out of pure psychological warfare. Lin Yaogua's story is heavy. He's a military man who was sent here during the political chaos. His wife and son cut ties with him to protect themselves. He doesn't blame them. He believes the country will clear his name eventually. He lives in the pig shed, which actually has better conditions than most houses here, if you ignore the smell. The old doctor in the shed, old Zhao, checked Ian at some point and confirmed what I feared. Ian's body has been damaged by poison. He can't do heavy labor anymore. Someone deliberately poisoned this man. Whoever did this to him, the aunt, the cousins, I hope they never know peace. Ian gave 2 of his white rabbit candies to Uncle Lin. Lin saved one for old Zhao because even at the bottom, people still share what little sweetness they have. And Ian ran back to my kitchen to talk my ear off, oblivious to how much the people around him quietly love him back. Ian was still talking about Uncle Lin. I love the kid, but my ears needed a break. I suggested we make some food for his friends, and he nearly exploded with happiness. I decided on simple mixed grain steamed buns. Nothing fancy that would draw attention. I use store-bought flour, not my magic space ingredients, because I don't know these people yet, and I'm not handing out enchanted food to strangers. While the buns were steaming, Ian sprinted home and came back hugging a small box. He shoved it into my hands with the most earnest face in history. Auntie, this is everything I own. It's all yours. Why? Because I like Auntie and Auntie likes me. You're good to me, so I want to be good to you. But what will you live on? I can dive and hunt. I can't catch big animals anymore, but rabbits and chickens sometimes. I won't starve. This man just handed me his life savings because I gave him candy and had pats. Nobody has ever trusted me like this. I grew up in an orphanage fighting over scraps. Nobody shares. Nobody gives you their last anything. And here's this broken, beautiful fool giving me literally everything he has.
Fine.
I'll take care of you from now on. Eat at my place. I'm covering all meals. Why? Annie, I'll take care of you when you're old, and see you off when you die. The see you off when you die part was unnecessary, but thanks. I opened the box and my soul left my body. Pearls. Half a box of colorful, gorgeous, wild pearls. Plus about 50 or 60 yuan in cash rolled up in a corner. This man has been casually collecting priceless natural pearls from the ocean like they're pretty rocks. My tears almost drooled out of my mouth. Ian saw my face changing and panicked. Andy, if you don't like the pretty beads, just throw them away. I'll find something more valuable next time. Throw them away? I clutched that box like my life depended on it. These are pearls. They're worth a fortune. Don't you dare throw them away. How much fortune? How many buns can they buy? Enough buns to feed you every day until you're 100 with leftovers. His eyes went wide. Really? I know where there's lots more. I only picked the big, pretty ones. I nearly fainted. In the modern era, these would sell at auction for insane prices. I spotted an Australian white pearl the size of my thumbnail. That's royalty-level jewelry. A pink pearl that could be worth millions of dollars. And black pearls, the rarest, most expensive kind, just sitting in a wooden box next to crumpled 1 yuan bills. This fool has been swimming past a fortune every single day and only grabbed the pretty ones. Stupid luck is real. I told him to keep his cash, and I'd hold the pearls as our shared treasure. He refused to take the money back.
All yours, Auntie. Fine.
If you ever need money, come to me. As long as I have rice, you'll have soup. We split the 30 buns into portions. 10 for Uncle's family, 12 for Uncle Lin, Old Zhao, and Grandma Xiao, and the rest for me. He insisted I get some. Auntie is the biggest, meaning most important. His sweet-talking skills are honestly dangerous. If his brain were working at full capacity, he'd be a menace to society. Off he went with his little basket of buns. Grandma Xiao lives by the pig shed in a small house the village built for her. She's a military widow who refused comfortable city housing and chose this remote fishing village instead. Every night, she lights a lamp at her door and keeps it burning until dawn, watching the sea. Some people carry love so quietly you almost miss it, but it's there, glowing all night, every night. Ian delivered the buns like a proud little delivery boy. Grandma Xiao tried to refuse. I'm too old to eat, but he wouldn't hear it. He was absolutely glowing, telling everyone that he has an auntie now who's going to take care of him forever. He gathered Uncle Lin, Old Zhao, and Grandma Xiao in one room and explained, I put you all together, so I only have to tell the story once. For a simple guy, that's surprisingly efficient thinking. The three adults exchanged looks. Is this kid really dumb? He just secured himself a lifetime meal plan, and the meal plan seems happy about it. Stupid luck is a real superpower. Uncle Lin bit into a bun and nearly cried. It was the first real steamed bun he'd eaten since being sent here. Meanwhile, Old Zhao quietly grabbed Ian's wrist to check his pulse. His face fell. He told Grandma Xiao and Uncle Lin with a headshake, Ian's body is like a house where termites have eaten most of the foundation. A little more damage, and the whole thing collapses. Ian looked at everyone's sad faces, confused. Do I still have to drink the bitter medicine? Yes, but you're almost better. Just a bit more. Old Zhao forced a smile. He's lying to a dying man with candy in his pocket and sunshine in his eyes, and I can't think about this too hard or I'll lose it. Back in my space, I was doing my rounds. Vegetables thriving, fruit trees loaded, everything perfect. Then it hit me, wait. I have magic healing water. Why am I not giving it to Ian? It won't cure him overnight, but if quality isn't enough, I'll drown him in quantity. Every single day, starting tonight. Even if it can't fully fix whatever poison is eating him alive, it has to be better than nothing. I bought 10 durian trees on the shopping app because a girl needs her durian freedom. Planted them, watered them with spring water, watched them grow in real time. Living my best farmer life. My ginseng garden is looking gorgeous, little green sprouts all showing 10 years, 6 months on their timers. Getting close to the good stuff. I sensed something watching me from the forest. My mental scan found the baby wild boar spying on me from behind a tree. I thought about how delicious it would be when it grows bigger. Space-raised pork must taste amazing. The piglet shivered without knowing why and congratulated itself on hiding so well from the dangerous woman. Sure, Piggy. You're very clever. Keep eating your magic grass. Get nice and plump for me. I picked cherries and peaches for Ian's dessert, then made milk and date sticky rice cakes with fresh squeezed cow milk from my own space cow. The milk smelled incredible even before cooking. I also prepped dinner, pepper pork over rice, extra large portions because that boy eats like a vacuum cleaner. Meanwhile, Ian finished work early and went straight to the ocean. The tide was going out, nobody else around since everyone's working. He stripped off his shirt, strapped his special anti-escape basket to his waist, and dove in. Underwater, this man transforms. He's graceful, powerful, completely at home, like a fish returning to the sea. He swam all the way to a massive pearl oyster colony and started harvesting. The big pretty ones for Annie's jewelry, the small ugly ones for a door curtain, a pearl door curtain. This man wants to make me a curtain out of pearls. Other people hang beads or bamboo. My nephew wants to hang a fortune in my doorway because he thinks the little pearls are not good enough for anything else. I'm sitting in my magic space making rice cakes while a beautiful fool dives to the ocean floor to collect priceless gems he thinks are decorations. This is my life now, and honestly, I wouldn't trade it. Apparently, deep in the ocean, a 1,000-year-old giant pearl clam watched Ian swim toward its colony and got a headache, despite not having a head. This clam family had lived peacefully for centuries. Nobody ever found them. Then this beautiful idiot showed up and started robbing the place. Before, he at least only took the pretty ones. Now he's grabbing everything. The old clam made an executive decision. We're moving. Ian surfaced with a full basket, went back under to catch more seafood, and didn't come home until I was genuinely worried. He appeared at my door, hair dripping wet, holding up his basket like a trophy. Auntie, I caught so much. Is that why you were late coming home? He froze at the word home. It hit him hard. He's never had a real home. His uncle built his house, but his aunt would probably take it back if she could. No sense of belonging anywhere. Yeah, he said quietly. Our home. My heart. Every single time. We stopped by Uncle's house first to deliver buns. I explained the cover story we'd worked out. Ian found valuable pearls. I know someone in Beijing who can sell them, and that's why we're hanging out together. Uncle nodded. He'd tell the village I'm a relative of Ian's family, so nobody gossips about a young man and woman being too close. Smart. Uncle also admitted something sad. When Ian first arrived, he ate with them and earned full work points. But after he got too sick to work, the eldest daughter-in-law complained about feeding an outsider. Ian somehow found out, and after that, he refused to eat there ever again. If they sent food to his house, he'd send it back, with extra stuff added. A wild chicken, a rabbit, some seafood. The man who barely has enough to eat was returning meals with interest. They stopped trying because every time they sent food, it cost them more. Nobody understands why he trusts me so completely when he wouldn't take food from anyone else. I don't fully understand either. Maybe some connections don't need explanations. Back at my house, I realized all the food was still in my space. I told Ian to go close the gate and speed teleported everything onto the stove. He paused for a second behind me. He definitely noticed something but kept walking. Later I found out why. Zhuang once told him a story about fairies, and if anyone discovers a fairy's secret, she turns into a butterfly and flies away. So Ian decided to pretend he sees nothing. Ever. To keep me from flying away. This man is protecting me from my own secret. I can't. Dinner was pepper pork over rice. I made him a huge basin-sized portion. He mixed everything together like I showed him and demolished the entire thing. Then he washed every dish, wiped the table until it sparkled, and stood there looking proud. 5-star employee. I brought out the milk and date sticky rice cakes. He ate 3 pieces so fast I had to cut him off before his stomach exploded. Those sad, wet puppy eyes came out again, but I held firm. Packed the rest for his lunch tomorrow. Then he remembered. OH. I almost forgot. He dumped his basket in the kitchen. 3 octopuses. A yellow croaker he caught with his bare hands. 3 sea urchins. 3 huge clams. And 1 enormous ancient-looking clam. Then he flipped the basket upside down. Pearls. A waterfall of pearls in every color and size cascaded onto my kitchen floor. Did you rob their entire neighborhood? I asked. And then I heard it, a tiny ancient voice wailing in my ear. Rob? This bandit didn't just rob us. He kidnapped me too. I looked down at the giant clam. It was crying. The 1,000-year-old pearl clam patriarch was sitting on my kitchen floor, sobbing about being abducted by a beautiful maniac. I now have a weeping senior citizen clam, a kitchen floor covered in priceless pearls, and a nephew who thinks he brought me a nice snack. Just another normal evening. Ian, did you hear a voice just now? He looked at me like I was the crazy one. Auntie, it's just us 2 here. Then he got that worried look, the one that means he's mentally scheduling me a doctor's appointment for my brain disease. The voice was coming from the clam. The giant ancient clam Ian kidnapped from the ocean floor was having a full emotional breakdown on my kitchen table. Let go of me. I'm going to be sick, it screamed as Ian casually tossed it up and down like a baseball. I told him to put it on the table. The clam opened its shell and went, blehhh, spitting out a pile of the most incredible pearls I've ever seen. Conch pearls, abalone pearls, golden South Sea pearls, black Tahitian pearls, giant clam pearls, basically every rare pearl that exists. 1 conch pearl alone weighed over 200 grams. In my old world, a 100-gram conch pearl sold for $3 million. This one is double that size. Ian picked up pearls one by one. Is this one valuable? Yes. This one? Also yes. This one? Everything on this table could buy a city. The clam started sobbing out its life story. Turns out it's almost 1,000 years old and had developed spiritual intelligence. Instead of peacefully cultivating like a responsible ancient clam, it spent centuries robbing other clams of their pearls. So all these fancy mixed pearls are stolen goods from a clam crime lord. And now the crime lord got robbed by a beautiful idiot with no idea what he was holding. I was so close. Just 1 more year, and I would have. It wailed. 1 more year, until what? Transcending to clam heaven? Becoming a clam god? It didn't finish because it was too busy ugly crying. Ian suggested we crack it open for more pearls. The clam screamed. And oh, I just wanted to relocate.
New scenery.
Not get my shell and body separated. I burst out laughing. Then I told Ian we had enough pearls and should spare them. He was disappointed, but agreed. The clam instantly stopped crying. Thank you, Grandma Auntie. You're my reborn parents. Sir, I cannot give birth to a 1,000-year-old shellfish. Please don't make this weird. I confirmed the other sea creatures couldn't talk, just this dramatic old clam, so I happily claimed all the regular seafood. Ian fetched seawater for the clams. We put the big talky one in its own bucket and processed the rest. Before Ian left, I made him drink a cup of spring water. My secret daily treatment plan starts now. Quality not enough? Quantity wins. I lowered the seafood into the well for natural refrigeration, nature's fridge. Later, I brought everything into my space and sprinkled some spring water on the old clam as a thank you for the pearls. It's the least I can do for a robbery victim who got robbed by my nephew. Inside my space, my durian trees were almost ready to fruit. My chickens were plump and perfect. I stared at one with dark intentions. It vanished instantly and reappeared in my storage. Tomorrow's potato chicken stew, decided. I prepped it that night with sugar glaze, ginger, garlic, dried chili, soy sauce, and spring water.
Done.
One less meal to cook tomorrow. Living with Ian is actually great. I cook, he cleans. I plan, he executes. He eats like 4 people, but he also works like 4 people and brings home priceless ocean treasures he thinks are pretty beads. Best roommate arrangement in any century. What I didn't know was that the moment I entered my space that night, the old clam in its bucket started freaking out. That tiny splash of spring water I gave it apparently set off something big. But that's tomorrow's problem. Tonight, I sleep like the pearl-hoarding dragon I've apparently become. The old clam stayed up all night drinking the spring water I gave it, talking to itself nonstop. What I asked this divine liquid? It's making me powerful. If I'd had this years ago, I wouldn't be someone's prisoner. This girl is my savior. Thank goodness I slept inside my space and missed the entire monologue. Meanwhile, Ian was snuggled in his new thick blanket, face buried in the softness with just his pretty eyes peeking out, poking his full belly and thinking about how happy he was. Then a deep, raspy voice appeared in his head, something that apparently talks to him sometimes, and sneered at him for being so easily pleased. Ian fired back. So what? I have an auntie who loves me. Do you? The voice went silent. That's what I thought. Jealous. Good night. He fell asleep in 5 seconds flat. There's something living inside that boy's head. I don't know what it is yet, but Ian just won an argument with it using pure emotional superiority. Incredible. Morning came, and the old clam started up immediately. Girl. Can I have more magic water? I ignored it. Grandma Auntie, still ignored. It concluded I must have brain damage from staying up late and decided to nap until I recovered. Perfect. Silence. I made tofu pudding and fried 3 pounds of dough sticks for breakfast. Yelled over the wall for Ian to come eat. He showed up and called it tofu brainhead. I corrected him. It's tofu pudding. He ate 3 bowls plus 2 pounds of fried dough. Then gave me a thumbs up copying my own move. I've created a monster, and I love it. I noticed he was still wearing washed-out clothes and grass sandals. I'd been so focused on feeding him, I forgot about clothing him. Today I'm going to town, so I'll secretly grab him some proper stuff. Before leaving, I gave him a green army-style shoulder bag with snacks inside. He took it but kept staring at my bag, a blue floral one with a cute little panda on it.
Just standing there.
Staring. Not saying a word. Eyes locked on the panda. The old clam woke up just to commentate. This boy wants the girly bag. How embarrassing. A real man would never. I glared at that clam so hard it choked on its own words. My boy likes cute pandas and flowers, and that is called having taste. The clam went dead quiet. Then thought, wait, can she actually hear me? I asked Ian gently if he wanted my bag. He bent down to my eye level, sunlight falling across his perfect face, and said softly, Annie, I like the kitty cat. I like the colors. We swapped bags. He walked off to work carrying a blue floral panda bag with absolute confidence. King behavior. At the village entrance, I hopped on the ox cart to town. Paid my 4 cents, sat down, said hello to everyone. A nice girl named Li Hemiao complimented my clothes. Sweet kid. Then this woman, Zhang Zhaodi, opened her mouth. Aren't you old son's adopted daughter? You cursed your whole family to death. They're all dead, and you got all the money, right? 6 a.m. On an ox cart. And some stranger just accused me of being a family-killing curse who stole dead people's money. Because she's jealous I dress nicely, and she doesn't. The other ladies on the cart tried to shut her up, but I was already off the cart. I walked up to Zhang Zhaodi, looked her in the face, said nothing. Slap, slap, slap. 3 across the face.
Classique et entraîne pique discipline technique.
Everyone on the cart froze. In this era, village fights have rules. You're supposed to start with passive-aggressive comments, escalate to insulting each other's families, then maybe pull hair. I skipped straight to the final boss move. The old cart driver started to get up, saw how fast and clean my slaps were, and sat back down. Smart man. Zhang Zhaodi turned purple, lowered her head like a charging bull, and ran at me. Bring it, girl. I grew up in an orphanage. You chose the wrong person to bark at this morning. I grabbed Zhang Zhaodi's hair with one hand and went slap, 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 slap with the other. Rapid fire.
No merci.
And suddenly I understood why Ian slaps disobedient pigs. I questioned his methods. I understood his methods. I became his methods. After the beating, I felt amazing. My whole body felt unclogged. Even my chest felt lighter. Therapeutic violence works, apparently. I let her go and laid out exactly who she'd just insulted. My grandpa was a revolutionary hero who donated everything to the war. My grandma was a soldier who died on the battlefield. My parents were military heroes who gave their lives for this country. My brother was a decorated warrior. Now say what you said again. I dare you. Her face was so swollen she couldn't form words even if she wanted to. The 3 other women on the cart were frozen solid. One of them, Manhwa, secretly thanked the heavens that Asachi hadn't been the one to run her mouth first. She was already planning to warn everyone back in the village. Do not mess with the Sioux girl. Even the stubbornest donkey in their work team would have surrendered watching those slaps. The aunties made Zhang Zhaodi bow and apologize. She blubbered out a swollen, "Sorry. I told her next time wouldn't end this nicely." She nodded so fast her brain probably rattled. Then she ran away, crying. The cart driver watched the whole thing, calmly tapped his pipe, cracked his whip, and off we went. He thought to himself, this girl handles things well. Firm but fair. Just like old son's family. I was thinking strategically too. I'm new here. Even with uncle as my backing, in a village of 1,000 people, someone was bound to test me. Zhang Zhaodi was rude, yes, but she was also my free publicity. Nobody who heard about today will try me again. 2 birds, many slaps. I slept the entire ox cart ride to town. Li Hemiao, the sweet girl, woke me up when we arrived. 1 o'clock deadline to return. Let's move. First stop, post office. I mailed Jiang Xing 5 pounds each of dried pork, dried abalone, and dried sea cucumber. Wrote a short letter saying I'm doing well. I didn't know what else to say, so I just wrote that. Jiang Xing apparently opened the package, read the letter, and concluded I'm exactly like my brother, aggressively friendly with strangers. He stared at the envelope for a while, thinking about things he doesn't say out loud. Also, I tried listening to the ox earlier. I can't understand cow language, so my animal translation powers only work on certain species. Pigs and ancient clams, yes. Cows, no. Very specific skill, tree I'm climbing here. Second stop, the supply store. I had a pile of national ration tickets burning a hole in my bag. Time to shop for Ian. I'd measured his foot with a string at home. Bought 3 pairs of the expensive anti-slip, waterproof military shoes designed for coastal areas. 8 yuan 70 each. The saleswoman was shocked anyone would buy 3 pairs at once. I figured he's at the beach every day. He needs backup shoes for when wet ones don't dry. Then I hit the clothing section. 3 full Mao-style suits, blue, gray, and black. Because only children pick just one color, and I as a child emotionally. Without cloth tickets, 38 yuan per suit, 114 total. The saleswoman was wrapping things so fast, she was scared I'd change my mind, and her sales quota would cry. Undershirts in 4 colors. Then I saw the underwear section, and nope. I have some in my space stash. I am not buying men's underwear in a crowded store in 1964. There are limits to my bravery. Toothpaste, toothbrushes, other basics done. I considered cigarettes but had no tickets. My existing stash from Beijing is enough for gift-giving purposes. I was standing there mentally reviewing my shopping list when, boom, a massive crash came from outside. Can I have one peaceful shopping trip? Just one? A huge crash outside the supply store sent everyone running. One grandma sprinted past with her vegetable basket yelling, "So many people. I need to get a good viewing spot." The Chinese national sport of watching other people's drama was in full swing, and I got swept outside by the crowd like a leaf in a river. A young woman in a white shirt and blue skirt was desperately grabbing a bystander's arm, crying, "Please save me. I don't know these people." On the ground was a crashed bicycle and the most ridiculous human chain I've ever seen. A middle-aged man clutching a young guy, the young guy gripping the girl, and an old woman clamping onto the girl's other arm. It looked like the world's worst trust exercise. According to a helpful grandma narrator, the girl was supposedly the young guy's wife who ran away after fighting with her mother-in-law. The bicycle man was just some poor dude who got kicked over during the chaos. But I watched more carefully. The husband had mean eyes. The mother-in-law was smiling sweetly while secretly pinching the girl's waist hard enough to bruise. This wasn't a family dispute. These were human traffickers. The crowd, naturally, sided with the fake family. Go home to your mother-in-law. Young women these days are so ungrateful. She needs a beating. Nobody questioned the story. The girl, Xiang Wanling, was completely alone and nobody believed her. She'd run away from home after a fight with her dad about his remarriage. On the train, this nice old lady asked where she was going, what her name was, where she lived. Wanling told her everything because she'd been raised sheltered and trusting. That's why they knew all her details and could fake being family. Classic predator move. I slipped out of the crowd quietly. 5 minutes later, I came back. In those 5 minutes, I'd found 2 random kids, gave them 50 cents each, and sent them sprinting to the police station. Meanwhile, the old woman claimed they were from East Ridge Village, my village. What a spectacular lie to tell when 3 actual East Ridge Village women were standing right there. East Ridge Village? That's where I'm from, I said cheerfully. Funny, I've never seen you. The crowd parted and Liu Auntie, Chingiju, and Manhwa walked in like the world's most intimidating neighborhood watch. They circled the old woman, looking her up and down. You're from our village? Which family? Name them. The old woman couldn't name anyone. Her son panicked, pulled out a knife, and started waving it around. Back off, or I'll make you bleed. I'm selling this girl, and none of you can stop me. He actually confessed. Out loud. In front of 50 witnesses. Criminal mastermind, this one was not. His mom cheerfully tried to steal the bicycle too. This is ours now. The actual bicycle owner whimpered quietly. The guy backed toward the wall with his knife, thinking he was getting away. Then, wham, something hit him from behind. He flew into the wall. Handcuffs clicked. 5 or 6 police officers surrounded them. My 2 little messenger kids had come through perfectly. The old woman's jaw dropped. Wanling collapsed on the ground, crying with relief, swearing she'd never be naively trusting again. The village aunties went to the police station to give statements as verified East Ridge residents. In this era, human traffickers get the death penalty. I love this policy. I walked away from the scene in the opposite direction of the crowd. Mission accomplished. Nobody even knew I was involved. Deep cover hero mode. It was almost lunchtime, and my stomach was staging a protest. Bought 2 pounds of pork at the supply store for my cover story, then hit the state restaurant. Ordered seaweed soup, braised pomfret fish, and rice. Total cost 1 yuan. The fish was huge, delicious, and had no tiny bones. Perfect for someone like me who treats fish bones like landmines. I was strolling back toward the ox cart, full and content, when I heard running footsteps behind me. Uncle, that's the sister. Don't let her get away. Captain, I'm here too. Oh no. My little messenger kids are pointing at me. Apparently being a secret hero lasts about 45 minutes in a small town. Got her. Someone grabbed my shoulder from behind, and I nearly had a heart attack. My brain went into panic mode reviewing every crime I might have committed. Did they catch me hiding leftover fish under the bones at the restaurant? Is wasting food a criminal offense now? Turns out the police were looking for the mystery hero who sent those kids to report the traffickers. One overeager young officer named Jiang Qinggong grabbed my wrist so hard it immediately turned purple. His captain smacked him upside the head. "She's the hero, you idiot. You didn't tell me," the guy protested. "You didn't give me time, Tio." They bowed and apologized. The captain offered me an official commendation. I said no thanks, just don't arrest me and we're good. They looked stunned. Who turns down a commendation?
Me.
I turned down commendations. I walked away while the captain dragged his idiot partner back by the ear. I could hear the guy howling, "OW, OW, OW, Captain, please," all the way down the alley. My wrist was swelling up like a balloon, purple and angry. That officer had the grip strength of a gorilla. I pulled my sleeve down to hide it and waited for the ox cart. On the ride home, the aunties were gossiping about the traffickers. Both mother and son are getting the death penalty. They also rescued previous victims and arrested their whole trafficking ring.
Good.
Perfect ending.
Chef esquisse.
Back home, I checked on the old clam. It was chatting to itself, having the time of its life. I sprinkled more spring water on it, and it went absolutely bonkers with gratitude. I ignored its monologue and went straight to my space. My hand was killing me. I soaked it in spring water. Pain dropped immediately. Found some medicated oil and tried rubbing it in. After 5 seconds of eye-watering agony, I gave up. Did a good deed. Got a broken wrist as a reward. The universe has a sick sense of humor. At least the swelling went down, and the pain became bearable. Still looked like I'd been in a boxing match, though. I cooked dinner using only my mind powers in the space. Steamed yellow croaker with soy sauce and hot oil. Spicy stir-fried octopus with hot pot sauce. Forgot to ask if Ian can eat spicy. Oh well, he's got other options. And sea urchin steamed eggs. The sea urchin custard is my favorite. The golden urchin roe melts into the egg like the ocean kissing a cloud.
Poetry on a plate.
Ordered a ladder from the carpenter for 3 yuan so I can yell over the wall at Ian without destroying my vocal cords. Now here's the thing I didn't know until much later. While I was shopping and fighting crime, I marched into the pig shed and told everyone, Grandma Xiao, Uncle Lin, and Dr. Zhao, that I have the same crazy disease as the village madwoman Suehua. She talks to herself. She stares at nothing. She makes weird faces. It's very serious, he reported with grave concern. Dr. Zhao was skeptical. She seemed normal to me. Uncle Lin agreed. She looked fine yesterday. Ian shook his head sadly. That's because the disease hasn't gotten bad yet. Grandma Xiao made the final call. Dr. Zhao, check her tomorrow at work. Early detection, early treatment. Uncle Lin helpfully added his own diagnosis. She's probably traumatized because her entire family died. That's what caused the mental illness. Poor girl. So now, in the minds of 4 people I actually respect, I am a mentally ill orphan bravely fighting through her psychological breakdown while being kind to others. Dr. Zhao slammed his fist on the table. We must treat her. No question. They're planning a medical intervention for a disease I don't have, diagnosed by a man who thinks he's 6 years old. This is fine. Everything is fine. Dinner was glorious. Ian's favorite was the octopus stir-fried with hot pot sauce. There's a saying from my old world, hot pot seasoning could make a shoe sole taste good. Truer words have never been spoken. He looked up at me with those pure, grateful eyes. Auntie, since I met you, I've never gone hungry. I'm not crying. I just have seasoning in my eye. We agreed to return the clams to the ocean tomorrow. Ian nodded eagerly. These free-loading shellfish are taking up Auntie's precious attention, and they must go. The old clam overheard and lost it. I'm not going back. The ocean floor is boring.
No sunlight.
No drama. No magic water. I want to be a clam who lives on land. It started crying again. I got a headache.
Tomorrow.
You're going back tomorrow. Then I tried to carry the clam bucket inside and forgot about my injured wrist. Pain shot through my arm, and I dropped the whole thing. The clam rolled across the ground screaming, "My back! My back!" Ian heard the crash, ran out, and saw my purple swollen hand. His eyes went red instantly. "Auntie, who hurt you?" Then he puckered his lips and gently blew on my wrist. Blow, blow, pain fly away, a trick Song Song taught him years ago. I was already crying from the pain, but seeing my big, beautiful idiot trying to blow my boo-boo away with tears in his own eyes, worth every bruise. The old clam, still lying face down in the dirt, yelled, "Hey, stop flirting and pick me up. I can treat bruises, you know. Hello? Is anyone there?" Then it called us a couple. My face went nuclear red. "We are not a couple. Can't you see this is a mother-son moment?" Ian stared at me in horror. I was yelling at thin air. To him, I just screamed at absolutely nothing. His worst fears confirmed. Andy's brain disease is getting worse. He bolted, vanished into the darkness, like a terrified gazelle. The old clam watched him go. If I had that kind of speed, the boy never would have caught me. I stood there, deflated. I'd scared him away by talking to an invisible clam. The loneliness hit hard. I've been alone my whole life. Orphanage kid. Always fighting. Always guarded. Ian was the first person who made me feel needed and wanted, not because I was useful, but because I was me. And now he ran away, because he thinks I'm crazy. I picked up the dirty clam in silence. Even the old clam could feel my sadness, and kept its mouth shut for once. A miracle.
Then it spotted something.
Girl.
Girl.
The stupid boy is coming back. And he's carrying someone. Bang, my gate flew open. Ian appeared, drenched in sweat, and flung a person off his back onto the ground in front of me. It was Dr. Zhao. The poor man stumbled, spun in a circle, nearly tripped over his own feet, and then Ian, helpfully, steadied him by yanking his arm, which sent the doctor crashing to his knees right at my feet. Like he was proposing. The old clam. Interesting greeting customs they have on land. Dr. Zhao was barefoot, had a fresh horn-shaped bump on his forehead from hitting the pig shed doorframe, and was still in his pajamas. Apparently Ian had kicked down his door, thrown him on his back without a single word of explanation, and sprinted here at full speed, smashing the doctor's head on the low doorway on the way out. Zhao checked my pulse. Looked confused. Checked again. Looked more confused. My pulse was perfect. My body was healthier than the village work ox. The only issue was a bruised wrist that needed some medicated oil. He slapped his own forehead. He believed a mentally impaired man-child who told him I was going insane. He'd been planning a psychiatric intervention. And now here he was, barefoot, with a goose egg on his head, kneeling in front of the healthiest person in the village. He looked at his bare feet on the cold ground, touched the bump on his forehead, looked at Ian's innocent, helpful face. Dr. Zhao wanted to commit violence, but he's a healer, so he just suffered. Dr. Zhao stood there barefoot, bump on his forehead, staring at me. Ian was bouncing around panicking. "Save my auntie. She's crazy." Zhao looked at me.
"She says you have
a mental illness," he says. I corrected. "My auntie is a huge mental patient. Please cure her," Ian begged. My fists clenched. The gratitude I felt 5 minutes ago evaporated like morning dew. Zhao and I exchanged a look. "After you," he offered. No, guests first," I replied politely. We took turns. The sounds that came from my courtyard that evening were educational for Ian. He screamed, he howled, he apologized. A grown man who'd survived abuse, starvation, and ocean diving, brought to justice by one small woman and one annoyed doctor. Ian got 2 fresh bumps on his head to match Zhao's. He finally experienced what a normal childhood discipline feels like. "Congratulations, big boy." After Zhao left, carried home by Uncle Lin, who'd followed them and witnessed the whole disaster, I stood with my hands on my hips. "Why did you tell people I'm mentally ill?" Ian sniffled, touching his new head bumps. Because I call you auntie but you call me brother, which is backwards. And you talk to thin air. Just like village Tsuehua. He had a point. A stupid, logical, annoyingly valid point. I'm not sick. Never say that again. Okay, auntie, he whispered, looking like a deflated balloon. Then I introduced him to the old clam. Properly this time. The clam had a pill that lets humans hear it talk. Ian, still sore from his beating, obediently swallowed it without complaint.
Boy, can you hear me?
I am the magnificent clam before your eyes. Ian's jaw dropped. He looked at me. I nodded. His face lit up like fireworks. They hit it off immediately. First order of business. Naming the clam. It had lived for nearly 1,000 years without a name. How about Big Stupid Egg? Ian suggested. People say ugly names are lucky. And oh, Big Dog Egg? Big Donkey Egg. Why is everything an egg with you? Eventually they settled on
Ban Ati An,
which roughly translates to Clam Who Rules the Heavens, from Big Stupid Egg to Heavenly Overlord Clam. Quite the negotiation. I gave Ian the clothes and shoes I'd bought. He stared at the pile, new suits, undershirts, waterproof shoes, bedding, and his heart fizzed like soda water. Happy bubbles rising but also tears. He didn't understand why joy could make you cry. I do. When you've had nothing your whole life, new things that are yours hits different. I told him his pearls sold for 10,000 yuan. His mouth went full O-shape. His eyes darted to the clam for half a second, mentally calculating how many more pearls he could squeeze out, then quickly looked away.
Good boy.
Don't be greedy.
Yet.
That night, Ian tried on every piece of clothing and modeled for the clam. The clam was enthusiastic at first, then went silent.
Why?
Because it realized it could never wear clothes. Existential clam crisis. The next morning, Ian and the clam staged a dramatic protest against being separated. Both crying, clinging to each other, one human, one shellfish, begging me not to send the clam back to the ocean. I was cast as the evil mother-in-law tearing apart star-crossed lovers. I gave in. The clam stays. Its name is Bang Out Yen, and it's apparently part of the family now. Something strange happened that night, though. In the middle of the night, Ian's eyes snapped open, but they weren't his eyes. The soft, innocent look was gone. What I didn't see, but the story knows, was something cold, sharp, and dangerous looking out from behind those pretty peach blossom eyes. It scanned the room, glanced at the clam, then vanished as quickly as it came. Ian collapsed back asleep. The clam dreamed of snow turning to spring and didn't notice a thing. Days passed peacefully. I made tofu pudding for Uncle's family. The kids kept collecting my pig grass quota in exchange for candy, and life settled into a comfortable rhythm. But Grandma Xiao looked worse every time I saw her. Thinner. Grayer. Dr. Zhao told me privately she has maybe a year left. Her body is falling apart, and worse, her heart has given up. You can't medicine someone who's already decided they're done living. Walking home in the cool autumn air, feeling the season change, I suddenly thought of one thing. I really want milk tea. Some cravings transcend centuries. I made myself a proper milk tea. Red tea base, milk tea powder, tapioca pearls, coconut jelly, syrup, ice, the works. Poured it into a big enamel mug, because I'm classy like that. Sat in my yard on a reclining chair, sipping and sighing with happiness. This is living. 21st century technology conquering 1964, one bubble tea at a time. Second sister-in-law you came to visit with a basket. She'd made me a white blouse with blue floral print and a waist detail. Gorgeous. Handmade with the precious fabric she'd been saving since her wedding. I was genuinely touched, and the fit was perfect. She caught me up on village gossip. The new educated youth are all behaving beautifully, nobody causing trouble. Thanks to Chen Lu's iron fist, though you doesn't know that. The 3 village aunties who helped catch the human traffickers got commended. Each received a towel and an enamel cup. Very official. And apparently there's a mysterious girl who actually called the police and saved the day, but she refused all recognition, saying serving the motherland is its own reward. Excuse me? I never said that. Someone is writing my dialogue for me, and making me sound like a propaganda poster. That eager young officer Jiang Qinggong is probably out there taking credit for my heroic speech that I never gave. I made you a cup of milk tea. She sniffed it suspiciously. It looks like mud water. Then took a sip and her eyes went wide. This is better than soda and powdered milk drink. Yes, ma'am. This beverage conquered billions of people in the future. It's not messing around. You also warned me indirectly about first sister-in-law Lu Mei, who's been eyeing my stuff and wanting to borrow things. You shut that down hard. Sister, it's not even dark yet, and you're already dreaming. Lu Mei is the type who sends all the family's good things to her birth family and then side-eyes anyone else who has nice stuff. Auntie Chin sees right through her, but keeps quiet for family harmony. After you left, I lazed around being a professional salted fish until lunchtime. Tomato egg over rice. Easy, delicious, zero effort. Then came the big event, returning the 2 normal clams to the ocean. I mentioned sadly that I can't swim or dive. Bang Out Yen, our newly named Heavenly Overlord clam, puffed up with pride. Easy. I'll give you both a water avoidance pearl. You can breathe underwater like you're on land. What? That exists? No time limit. None. You can use it until you die. Thanks for that phrasing. He opened his shell and went, PTOO, PTOO, spitting out 2 small pearl-like objects. I stared at the freshly expectorated magic pearls sitting in a puddle of clam spit. Suddenly the ocean floor didn't seem so appealing. Maybe I could just stay on land forever. But I washed them thoroughly. Then I washed them again. Then I soaked them in alcohol. Then I closed my eyes, held my breath, and swallowed one like it was poison. I don't feel anything, I said. Me neither, said Ian. Outyen, you're still on land. What were you expecting? Fair point. We packed up to head to the beach. Ian carried the bucket of clams in one arm and Outyen in the other, strutting like a rooster heading to battle. Outyen had promised him that today they'd go treasure hunting on the ocean floor, shiny pearls, glittery things, the works. My first ever underwater adventure, powered by clam spit. If you told me 6 months ago that I'd die on a toilet trip, get reincarnated in 1964, and end up swallowing magic phlegm from a 1,000-year-old shellfish crime lord, I would have believed you, actually. My life has never made sense. Why start now? I tied a 5-meter rope between me and Ian, because I can't swim, and I'm not about to drown on a clam field trip. He stood there patiently, while I knotted us together like the world's most mismatched buddy cop duo. The shallow water was fine. Then it got deep, and I started wobbling around like a drunk penguin. Outyen immediately started heckling from his bucket. What's wrong, girl? Legs too short? Can't swim? You're slower than a SEA turtle. One more word, and no magic water for a week. He shut up so fast I heard his shell snap closed. Ian watched me wobble for a moment, then just scooped me up with one long arm around my waist, kicked off with his ridiculous legs, and glided us into the deep water like it was nothing. Having a tall swimming companion is an absolute luxury, and I refuse to feel bad about it. Outyen dove ahead to lead the way, flapping his shell open and closed like the world's ugliest butterfly. Ian leaped out of the water in a beautiful arc and disappeared below. I tried to copy him, opened my mouth to take a dramatic breath, and got yanked underwater by the rope. Glub glub glub. I swallowed about a gallon of disgusting salty ocean water before I remembered I had a magic breathing pearl. I could breathe normally this whole time. Brilliant start to my underwater career. Once I calmed down, it was actually amazing. Fish everywhere. I grabbed whole schools of flatfish as we passed. They're my favorite. Tender meat. Barely any bones. Just casually shoplifting from the ocean. 1/3 of that entire school went into my space.
Sorry, fish.
You were delicious looking. Ian grabbed my hand when we reached an underwater mountain because he correctly predicted I would smash face first into it. Big warm hand. Zero hesitation. Very practical. Very.
Nice.
Outyen turned around, saw us holding hands, and threw a tantrum about being a single clam. Nobody asked you, shellfish. Then we reached Outyen's old territory, and I slammed into an invisible wall.
Boing.
Bounced right off. Tried again.
Boing.
like a pinball machine. Ian and Outyin passed through fine. I kept getting launched backwards. Turns out Outyen's younger brother, Clam Jr. or Bang Xiaobang, set up a magical barrier before ascending to heaven. Only Outyen can pass freely. His little brother had left him a full care package, a coral mountain paradise, endless food, protective barriers, and basically everything a useless older brother could need. Before leaving, little brother had begged Outyen to please stop robbing other clams, please stop talking so much, and please just stay home and train. Outyen did none of those things, obviously. Somewhere on a misty mountain in the heavens, little brother was chopping chicken feed and sneezing. Is my useless, loud-mouthed, embarrassing older brother thinking about me? I miss that idiot. Is he even still alive? Then a broom smacked the ground in front of him. Bang Xiaobang. Shut up. You cry about your brother 300 times a day. He's not dead. You're going to die from all this wailing. Sibling love transcends species, apparently. After Outyen lifted the barrier for me, I finally saw it, a mountain made entirely of colorful coral. Hundreds of little clams everywhere, fish swimming past, natural seaweed gardens. It was the most beautiful thing I'd ever seen, like living inside a nature documentary. Then Outyen did something that broke my brain. He sprouted arms and legs. Little pink fleshy limbs popped out of his shell. He stood on top of the coral mountain, hands on his hips, looking like the most ridiculous superhero in the ocean. Ian poked his arm, then his leg. Where's your head? Patience. Behold, my magnificent face. His shell creaked open. Ian and I bonked our heads together, trying to peek inside at the same time. I'm standing at the bottom of the ocean, breathing through clam spit, roped to a beautiful amnesiac, about to see the face of a 1,000-year-old shellfish crime lord who just grew limbs. My life is a fever dream, and I wouldn't change a single thing. Outyen opened his shell to reveal his face, and I lost it. He's not an old man at all. He's a baby. A round, chubby little kid face sitting inside a shell, with tiny pink arms sticking out the sides and stubby legs poking out the bottom. His voice even changed to a child's voice when he transformed. This ancient 1,000-year-old clam crime lord who calls himself this old man is basically a toddler in a seashell costume. Behold my magnificent beauty, he declared, blushing so hard his entire shell turned pink. Ian picked him up and started examining him from every angle like a new toy. Outyen, where's your butt? How do you pee? Outyen rocketed out of his hands, slapped both arms over his backside, and turned tomato red. You pervert, Ian pouted. I was just curious. I almost drowned from laughing. These two are the greatest comedy duo in any century. Then it was business time. Outyen sent out sonic waves, did some hand signs, and a flash of white light hit every clam in the colony. They all opened their mouths simultaneously and started spitting out pearls like slot machines hitting jackpot. Every color of the rainbow poured out until the entire ocean floor was carpeted in pearls. Humans think these are treasure. For us clams, they're just annoying rocks stuck in our mouths, Outyen said. Ian asked if Outyen ever made pearls himself. Outyen exploded. I'm male. I don't make pearls. Then he muttered that even if sand got in, he'd spit it out immediately because it's gross and uncomfortable. Hygiene king. I gave Ian a magic storage pouch for my space and taught him how to use it. I had a whole excuse ready for when he asked where it came from. He just nodded seriously and said nothing. In his mind, don't ask questions or Annie turns into a butterfly and flies away. Bless this boy. Outyen demanded his own storage pouch too, for his living expenses. Sure. Fine. Everyone gets a magic bag today. We vacuumed up every single pearl. Then Outyen made the clams swallow fresh sand grains. Sustainable development, he explained. Ian didn't understand the concept, but I did. Little brother had set up this whole pearl farm specifically so big brother would stop robbing wild clams. Keep him busy at home so he doesn't go out and get beaten up. Or hunted. Little brother was basically Outyen's long-suffering parent. After looting his own colony, Outyen took us sightseeing. I spotted massive rocks covered in sea urchins and went into harvest mode. Pulled out 2 little hoes and 2 storage bags. Outyin sat on a rock with his legs crossed, supervising like a tiny CEO. These cute little fish, damselfish, started circling us excitedly. Ayan asked if they were edible. I explained they're basically underwater farmers who carefully grow algae gardens. The sea urchins are the thieves who eat their crops down to the roots and destroy everything. I compared it to someone stealing your vegetables and burning your garden. Ayan's fists clenched. I'm catching every single SEA urchin. Outyin got offended too. I rob other clams, but I never destroy their homes. I'm a good criminal. The three of us went on a sea urchin rampage. I cracked some open, and the damselfish swarmed in for a feast. More and more fish gathered around us, like we were their saviors. We cleared the entire area. My arms were dead. Outyin was draped over Ayan's head with his tongue out, and even Ayan was tired. The damselfish escorted us all the way to the surface, their little eyes glistening. Come back soon, kind humans. Back home, I poured everyone a cup of spring water. I chugged an entire mug. First underwater adventure, pearl heist, sea urchin genocide, and befriending an army of grateful fish farmers. Not bad for a Tuesday. After our ocean adventure, both Ayan and Outyin started whining about being hungry at the same time. Ayan pointed at his stomach. Auntie, tummy says it's hungry. Outyin chimed in with his new baby voice. Me too. Having two dependents who act like toddlers is exhausting but weirdly adorable. I whipped up a feast, sliced braised meat, 10 sea urchin steamed eggs, braised flatfish, stir-fried vegetables, and rice. Outyin sat on the table, hugging a piece of magic-grown lettuce with his tiny arms, crunching away happily. Ayan had his personal giant bowl. For one peaceful moment I thought, this is it. This is happiness. A quiet life with a man-child and a talking clam. Then Kong Kong and Zhuang showed up. Ayan immediately gave me his best puppy eyes. He wanted to play with his little buddies. I sent him off with 4 sea urchin eggs and 3 cups of milk tea for the boys. Kong Kong stayed behind and handed me 5 bird eggs he'd been secretly saving. For you, Auntie. Then his little face crumbled and he started crying into my shoulder. The story came out in pieces, mostly from Zhuang later. Kong Kong's mom, Lu Mei, is a piece of work. Uncle bought 2 cans of food specifically for her to give me as a return gift. She took them to her mother's house instead and told Kong Kong not to tell his dad. When second sister-in-law you came back from my place with gifts and Lu Mei's family got nothing, Lu Mei threw a fit, called me stuck-up, and fought with her husband. And today, she sent 5-year-old Kong Kong to my house to beg for nice things to send to her nephew at her parents' home. This child is 5. And his mother is using him as a shopping cart and a spy. He was too ashamed to ask me for anything, so he brought me his precious hidden bird eggs instead. My heart shattered. I couldn't fix his family right then, so I gave all 3 boys candy and sent them home. Kong Kong was smart enough to give half his candy to Zhuang for safekeeping. He knew his mom would take it. Sure enough, the second he walked through his door, Lu Mei grabbed him and dragged him inside. Zhuang went home and proudly showed his mom his candy. Yu's response? Son Zhuang, you took that many. Motherly love, definitely present, just inconsistently delivered. Meanwhile, I had a different crisis. Ayan was ignoring me. Full silent treatment. Arms crossed, face turned away. Not a single word. I had no idea what I did wrong. Outyin waddled back and forth between us on his stubby legs like a tiny mediator. He poked my arm. What's wrong with the stupid boy? I shrugged. No clue. Finally I snapped.
Yan Femg.
Tell me what I did. You are not allowed to stay silent. His lip trembled. His enormous eyes filled with tears. And then, in the most wounded voice imaginable, Auntie, when you comforted Kong Kong, you held him in your arms. But when you comfort me, you've never held me. You said I was your favorite, but that was a lie. Giant tears rolled down his perfect face like actual pearls. This 183-centimeter grown man is jealous because I hugged a crying 5-year-old, and I've never hugged him. He's been stewing about this for an hour. His emotional complexity is simultaneously that of a toddler and a scorned lover, and I genuinely don't know how to process either version. I am raising a clam, a giant baby, and now apparently managing a kindergarten-level jealousy crisis. Send help. Or milk tea. Preferably both. Ian was still crying pearl-sized tears because I'd never hugged him. Outyen was frantically wiping tears off Ian's face with his tiny arms. The tears were literally filling up his shell like a bowl. I tried logic. Kong Kong is 5. You're a grown man. He just kept crying silently. Big, fat, gorgeous tears rolling down that stupid, perfect face. Just hug him already, Outyen begged. I'm just a tall, small child, Ian whimpered.
Fine.
Sit on my lap then. He launched himself at me like a cannonball. A 183-centimeter, fully grown man cannonball. He landed on my legs, and I felt my skeleton compress. I made a sound that no human should make. He nuzzled his fuzzy head into my neck and wrapped his long arms around me, completely oblivious to the fact that I was being crushed to death. Auntie, are you happy? I couldn't answer because I couldn't breathe. Outyen peeked at my face, mouth open, gasping like a dying fish, and yelled at Ian to get off. I finally understood how Sun Wukong felt under that mountain. Outyen, genius that he is, suggested. He's too big for your lap. Let him hold you. Next thing I know, Ian is carrying me in one arm and Outyen in the other, bouncing me gently like he'd seen little Tiger's dad do with his kid. Boyfriend energy was radiating off this man in waves, and I needed to not think about that. Outyen, cradled in Ian's other hand, sighed contentedly. The three of us just need to live well together. That's all that matters. I have a family now. It's a mentally impaired supermodel and a baby-faced shellfish. But it's mine. The ocean pearls? Both refused their share. Outyen called his portion, rent, and food money. Just give him magic lettuce and spring water. Ian said everything he owns, including himself, belongs to me. I didn't know how to respond to someone gifting me their entire existence, so I just moved on. Next morning, I harvested my first ginseng from the space. Not even 30 years old, but packed with enough spiritual energy to rival 50-year-old roots. Replanted immediately. Infinite ginseng supply, baby. I'm basically a pharmaceutical company. Breakfast was pan-fried pork celery buns and corn porridge. Then we headed to work with 3 bags of cornmeal and the ginseng for Grandma Zhao's crew. Ian ran ahead to the pig shed to catch naughty pigs, but today they were suspiciously quiet. Disappointing for him. Very smart of the pigs. I gave the cornmeal and ginseng to Grandma Zhao and Dr. Zhao, crediting everything to Ian's pearl money. Zhao examined the ginseng and nearly had a heart attack. The medicinal potency was off the charts for its age. Miraculous. Extraordinary, he was practically vibrating. Grandma Zhao looked slightly better than last time. My secret spring water-infused snacks are working.
Good.
Then I heard the pigs talking and my veterinary degree kicked in. Pig 2, I'm not doing well. Me neither, Pig 1. My legs are weak from diarrhea. It's Pig 13 and 15's fault. We poop in the front, and they eat it from behind. They're practically waiting at our butts with open mouths. The pig keeper can't see we're sick because they keep eating the evidence. I looked at the pigs. Several were clearly unwell, limp, exhausted, shivering in a pile. My brain auto-diagnosed. Epidemic porcine diarrhea. But Grandma Zhao said their droppings looked normal. Because 2 pigs were eating the diarrhea before anyone could see it. I tried to explain this diplomatically. Annie, I noticed some pigs had diarrhea earlier, but the other pigs ate it. I gagged mid-sentence. Grandma Zhao's face froze. She hadn't felt nauseous until I described it in such vivid detail. Now she wanted to throw up too. My medical career, pig psychiatrist, pig disease detective, and now pig poop reporter. The career trajectory I never dreamed of.